depends on the moment. So now so many of us are here, so I'll engage you till things settle. And students know very well, today we have some extraordinary stalwarts here. They are all committed to their lifetime. Some have come and done work in the hydro sector. Some have done work in the, I would say, both agriculture and the technology and infrastructure. Some have done great work in the area of energy. Then there are others who have done even work in the public domain. There are some people who have actually established certain institutions like the manufacturing and Industry 4.0. So like it is the first one, the person I will be introducing shortly. So this is, I tell you, you will not get such panels anywhere together. It's not possible, in today's times. But we are all living in our own zones. People are in different places. People don't get the opportunity to get together and, push something. And the agenda is, if you see on the right, is the face of the book that is going to be released here, right? It's a very interesting area that I have put, IMEAnomics. So I wear the hat of being the honorary dean here, professor at NDIM for Global Business Environment, Public Policy and Government. Well, this is a very tough area. So I thought something should come out of this, right? Because I have been successful reasonably, thanks to friends like all who have come here, and many whom we have lost as well, unfortunately, like Yogendra Prasad or Dr. V. Krishnamurthy. I was very close to these people. So some of them around us, most of them who have come from the beginning knows my closeness. So the width is very large, So what is the whole thing? The whole thing is when the world is looking in directions, there are trade blocks, there are economic zones, each one trying to build its own agenda. Agenda to sabka hai, right? ASEAN will have its agenda. SAARC, they have an agenda, but they don't know what they're doing, है ना? और SAARC में ज़्यादा करके मेरे को एक बार भूटानीज ने बोल दिया था एक बात कि सर it is always that there's something happens between India and Pakistan, तो हमारी मीटिंगें नहीं होती. तो ये भी एक भूटानीज ने बोला मुझे. तो मैंने कहा इसका रास्ता क्या है? So it is, sometimes it looks like egos between people. So 90% it used to come from the neighboring country. It used to be not the ego of India. So ये है, तो इस तरह से SAARC की मीटिंग्स स्कटल हो जाती हैं. तो वो उस तरह से ग्रो नहीं कर पाई जिस तरह से तो उसमें हमने बिम्स्टेक भी किया, कोशिश किया कि उससे हटके, तो वो चल पड़ी, right? So there are ways and means. So I just thought in the 10 years of very deep thinking of this subject, I was astounded that the area that actually should be focused upon is how to integrate India, Middle East and Africa. I was traveling in a flight, I had to take a flight to Frankfurt. And luckily Hetal had the ticket because it was in a lucky draw of lots कि उसकी टिकट निकल गई. अब मुझे मेरी टिकट निकालनी थी. हाँ सर, ये कहानी बड़ी अच्छी है ना बोलने के लिए. तो देखो, अब मैं सोच रहा था कहाँ से सस्ती टिकट मिलेगी. तो सस्ती टिकट मिल ही नहीं रही थी. There was no ticket which was Lufthansa, you take any of this. You will not believe what I took to go there. I took the Oman Air. Everybody told me, sir, ये Oman Air ले रहे हैं. मैंने कहा मुझे क्या, मुझे पहुंचना है ना. मेरा काम, I should reach Frankfurt, right? And to be with him in the European Union at that time. We together had planned certain visits. Certain visits I had already planned. I had to visit a nuclear power plant. वो already set था. Dukovany, in a village in Czech Republic. So I bought the ticket. I had to get the cheapest ticket, so it was Oman Air. What did Oman Air do? It hopped me into Muscat, 4 hours I had to wait, and then it will take me to Frankfurt. Now when I went there, mostly people were all from, I would say, either Omanis or Tamilians traveling to Oman. This was the first time I realized that Oman is full of Tamil people. The realization was Middle East was full of Kerala people. Even I sitting in Mumbai did not realize. तो वो थे, और जो हज करके जा रहे थे उनका वाया मीडिया था. कुछ ऐसे लोग थे, लोग जमजम का पानी लेके चल रहे थे, कोई वाइट्स में था, इन सब के बीच में मैं भी था. ठीक है ना. मैं वहाँ गया तो एयर हॉस्टेस, वो एक पवार थी लड़की, वो आई. सर, उन्होंने मेरा नाम साम देख लिया, सब कुछ देख लिया. सर, वी वुड लाइक टू अपग्रेड यू टू अ बिजनेस क्लास. तो मेरे को अपग्रेड कर दिया बिजनेस क्लास में. हाँ सुनिए, कमाल देखिए. अब क्या फेवर कर रही थी? शी वाज नॉट डूइंग एनी ग्रेट फेवर. शी वाज जस्ट वाचिंग कि व्हाट आर द प्रोफाइल ऑफ आवर गेस्ट. लुक एट द डीप थिंकिंग ऑफ द एयरलाइन. then they found that I am a vegetarian. I have requested this vegetarian food, है ना. तो उन्होंने कहा कि इनको थोड़ा सा हमको अलग बिठाना पड़ेगा. Then they probably found out about me or whatever it is, है ना. तो उन्होंने मेरे को बिजनेस क्लास दिया. मैंने पैसे नहीं दिए थे, at no cost. ओनली मेरे लगेज का थोड़ा, क्योंकि किताबें कैरी करता हूँ तो ऑलवेज लगेज ओवर शूट कर जाता है. वो फ्यू किलोस थे मेरे लगेज के, मैंने वो पैसे दे दिए. तो उन्होंने वो भी सोचा यार इसने तो लगेज के भी पैसे दिए, इसको कुछ अच्छी ट्रीटमेंट तो देनी चाहिए. आई वॉज इन दी फर्स्ट क्लास एट द टाइम. उसके बाद क्या हुआ नेक्स्ट, विल नॉट बिलीव. सर वुड यू लाइक अरेबिक कॉफ़ी. वो एरोस्टर आके मुझे पहले पूछती है. मैंने कहा बिल्कुल आई वुड लव. सर इट इज़ विदाउट मिल्क पर इट बी लाइक योर साउथ इंडियन कॉफ़ी. मैंने कहा पिलाओ. अच्छा, फिर बोले सर ऑन द वे यू कैन लिसन टू रेडियो ओमान. आई सेड ओके आई विल लिसन, बट सर वी विल हैव यू ऑप्शन फॉर तमिल सॉन्ग्स फॉर यू. वो तमिल उनका है. मैंने कहा मैं ओमान यहाँ ट्रैवल कर रहा हूँ, ये मेरे को तमिल में गाने सुनाएंगे. मैंने कहा वैसे तो मैं सुनता नहीं तमिल के गाने, मैं ज़्यादा हिंदी मोहम्मद रफ़ी वाला हूँ, हाँ किशोर कुमार वाला हूँ. उन्होंने कहा कि ये तुम तमिल सॉन्ग सुनो. मैंने कहा ठीक है. कहते हैं सर यू वांट टू हैव ओल्ड सॉन्ग्स न्यू सॉन्ग्स. मेरे से सारी चॉइसें निकाल ली और वो चलाया गया मेरे लिए on the headphones, and I flew happily into Muscat. I had 4 hours of jolly time talking to people about the country and what. I could not go. I could have gone out, but 4 घंटा थोड़ा टाइट था. There was a metro. I could have gone out. I did not do it. मैं वही घूमता रहा. मुझे वहाँ पता चला कि most of the people who were operating the airport were Tamilians. तो और बताओ आप, भाषा भी बोल रहे हैं हमारी, ठीक है, और साउथ इंडियन फूड भी मिला, ठीक है, एयरपोर्ट पे खुश. देन वी बॉर्डेड दी हॉप स्किप एंड जंप फ्लाइट विच विल बी फॉर फ्रैंकफर्ट, यू नो, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम दिस प्लेस. यू विल नॉट बिलीव, आई हैवंट सीन टिल डेट so many wonderful tourists of the top order flying in the airline. ये सारे जर्मन या यूरोपियन थे, प्रीडोमिनेटली जर्मन, हॉलैंड एंड फ्रेंच. 3 कंट्रीज के पूरे टूरिस्ट भरे पड़े थे. और इसकी जैसी मैं फ़्लाइट कभी ट्रैवल नहीं किया. बढ़िया जर्नी थी, इतनी सुंदर जर्नी थी. जब मैं लैंड किया और मेरा इतना सस्ता टिकट हुआ था, मैंने 55,000 रुपये दिए थे फॉर दिस एंटायर फ्लाइट, जबकि उस समय दिस फ्लाइट वॉज अबाउट क्लोज टू ₹1,00,000. याद है ना सर. और हमने बहुत एंजॉय किया. हम दोनों कहाँ कहाँ गए, न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट में कैसे घुसे, किसी की परमिशन नहीं थी पर हम घुस गए, है ना, हमें सब तो वी वेंट इनटू, एंड यू नो द न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट दे शोड अस फुली, है ना, जबकि टाइम भी नहीं था, कुछ नहीं था, साउथ ऑफ बर्नो. सो व्हाट हैपेंस, आई रियलाइज समथिंग, यू नो, उसका एक्स प्राइम मिनिस्टर मैसेज दे रहा है कि हमें इनसे पता लगाना ये हमारी कैसे मदद कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि दैट टाइम हेतल विल रिमेंबर, they were all, entire Europe was opposing that nuclear power plant at Dukovany, that small village. And what happened after we went, it appeared in German papers, my visit, it appeared in many places. सब जगह हमने भी छापा, हमने उनको शेयर किया, वो सारा प्लांट बन गया. वो the plant was constructed. So what we cannot do and what we can do, we don't realize. हम कौन थे? Technically 2 engineers going like a tourist, right? And trying to find out what is happening in Europe. Beyond that, nothing was there. And visiting I had to visit my old factory, went to Friedrichshafen factory of MTU. It is a brilliant factory. So many things we have done. We went to Czech Republic, met the people from ZKL, which is the competitor to SKF in bearings. सारी चीज़ें हमने करी. हमने वो जगह भी देखी हिस्टोरिकली जहाँ से नेपोलियन बोनापार्टे ने पूरा कंट्रोल किया था. So many things happened, right? And it was south of Brno. Nobody will have a clue what it is. And a small village, we understood how the nuclear project was taking care of a village for decades. And you know, nuclear, there is no production of any carbon. So we call at REPA nuclear and renewable. Because we are only discussing nuclear safety, that's a different subject, right? Disposal of nuclear fuel, spent fuel is one subject. But it doesn't produce any carbon. This is the knowledge that has to come, and then you will understand why it was so important for Czech Republic, for the energy security. उनके पास कुछ नहीं था, जर्मनी की तरफ पानी नहीं था उतना, ठीक है, उनके पास कोयला भी नहीं था, वो भी इंपोर्ट करेंगे, तो वो कहाँ से बिजली बनाएंगे. बहुत साहब ये एक पॉइंट थी. सो आई थिंक नाउ पीपल हैव कम, सो आई कैन स्टार्ट ना. स्टूडेंट्स हैव कम इन, मोस्ट ऑफ, ठीक है जी. सो मे आई फर्स्ट रिक्वेस्ट गुरमुख सिंह बाबा साहब, our chair for the day, to be on the dais first. Please give a big hand. Gurmukh Singh Baba Sahab is a man who needs no introduction. He has been responsible for the Airport Authority of India. He retired as a general manager, communications. He is one of the top communication professional and one of the brainchild and founders of a public relations society literally in Delhi at the national capital. In addition to that, he is an aviation expert. He's an aviation industry top expert. You can't get a better knowledge in aviation other than meeting Mr. Baba. So again, give him a big hand. May I request my very close friend, colleague, and I would say in the journey, a brother from another mother, Hetal Mehta, to please come and be on the dais. Hetal has been at this institution quite a few times, and Hetal Mehta has done a wonderful job. He's done several things, but one of the wonderful jobs that he has done is established South Asia's first common engineering facility center. And this is at Bardoli in Gujarat. It has Industry 4.0 based technology over there, and it could go to digital manufacturing. That is his brain. And he was recently called to speak on this subject in Taiwan amongst the world manufacturing, I would say, giants. So he is a unique guy. He made the solar charkha. Taliyan bajaiye, he is the inventor of the solar charkha. Okay. And other than that, he is also an NIT alumnus from Surat. And he's also appeared in my book anyway on the NITs. A wonderful gent and working hard to do things which normally people will not do. People will not tread that territory. The same with us. Common this thing कि भाई उस जगह जाओ जहाँ लोग नहीं जाएंगे. लेकिन उसमें बड़ी दिक्कतें होती हैं. Because when you take that path, and he's also an NGO, because Setu Foundation is a non-profit. It was established between the Textile Manufacturing Association in Mumbai, which is the top manufacturing association, and his Surat Engineering Vikas Association, which was a South Gujarat-based cluster development for engineering industry, very strong performance. And together, it is founded as Setu Foundation. Setu means Science, Engineering and Technological Upliftment. Am I right, sir? So that's how it is. So you see what is Setu. So this Setu is different from what you hear Setu and all. But ये असली सेतु है, ठीक है ना? तो इनका काम ये बड़ा ज़बरदस्त काम है. And it's a very difficult area. We are not there in manufacturing. What is happening in other places is much ahead of us. So he's trying to make a small difference through training and development of people into the latest. Because our people will be out if we don't have Industry 4.0 skills, right? The Batalas make great machines, great CNCs, the Ludhianas make, the Rajkots make. But what do? They have no exposure to the next level. So Hetal has done a wonderful job. It is village kids who go there and learn how to operate those machines. So give him a big hand for that. Now the next person I'm calling is basically Sri T.C. Arora. I don't have to introduce him much, but he's advisor to Toshiba, a regular literally at our forums here, right? And if you ask me Toshiba India, then it's the life of T.C. Arora. मतलब लिटरली इसके ऊपर मैं नहीं बोलूँगा. तोशिबा अगर इंडिया में है और ये सब कर रही है अभी तक तो अरोड़ा साहब के कारण. So you can imagine. And we have a Japanese setup here because the institution NDIM has a special cell here working with the Indo-Japan. But I tell you, he should be the one who should be called to the Indo-Japan thing and also be a mentor to you people. Maybe I'll next see if I can tell Bansal Saab to do that, because he spent the longest time with Japanese people and Japanese culture. Am I right, sir? And how to get the Indian thing in. There's one common factor between us. I worked with Germans, the MAN Diesel, 9th largest company in Germany, and I was with them for many years. So I also pushed how Indians can work in an environment on an equal footing with the Germans. So he has done extraordinary work in working equal footing with the Japanese, and that too such a company, right? Toshiba. Thank you, sir, for being here. Then I will introduce a friend who has been interacting with me for the last 3-4 years, but I really respect him for what he has done. And he's also dynamically shifting things that are happening in the rural sector. And it's important for us not to forget agriculture at all, क्योंकि आप जितनी भी इंडस्ट्री करते रहिए, इन दोनों का एक सिम्बायोटिक मतलब समानांतर ग्रोथ की बात है. अगर आपकी एग्रीकल्चर नहीं करती अच्छा, तो आपकी इंडस्ट्री अच्छा नहीं करेगी. ये एक इकोनॉमिक इशू है. सो इट इज़ नन अदर दैन डॉक्टर जगवीर रावत साहब, Please come over. And Rawat Saab is, unke bahut sare hats hain. I don't want to discuss all that, but he is an academician par excellence, establishing a lot of work with the animal husbandry industry in Rohtak, right? वो उस पे हैं. Other than that, he has got his dream, which he will explain to us today, because I'll leave it to him, because he has a very unique dream of creating G parks, which actually integrate 10 different things across the rural-urban landscape, right? So I'm making it simple because वो समझना थोड़ा सा difficult है. I can go on, but it will become too technical. I'm not getting into it. But basically, there is a synergy between our renewable sector and what Saab is doing in his foundation. So we have a very long-term approach to this whole thing, and we will, I would say, God wish we will actually quickly get successful also. And we are there. Slowly and steadily we are moving to that direction. So he's a man, if you want to talk about rural, and if you want to generate organic fertilizer, he is the brain in the country behind organic fertilizer. So please give him a big hand. Then may I request S.K. Shukla Saab, another great friend. In fact, in your brochures, you will see his photograph also in those, Shukla Saab was one of the leading constructors and actually the man who saw the completion of the Tehri Hydro Dam. Tehri is so important. I've spoken about this to previous batches, but you must know, Delhi mein flood nahi aata, uska karan Tehri hai. Because Tehri was basically constructed as a catchment, because that Himalayan flow that comes like anything, right, sir? Those rivers flow like anything and they can just take your everything off, if they are going and the desilting happened, so many things happened, but they were supposed to reach Delhi. Floods would have been regular for Delhi. So what Tehri has done, one side is we have environmental activism, good. But when it's environmental overactivism without logic, then it is dangerous, right? So the environmental activism is fine. People should get their rehabilitation, resettlement, scientific R&R, all is important. Nobody is going against it. But construction of these water storage projects, because from the era of Pandit Nehru, we have benefited because of these dams. हमारी खेती उसी कारण हो रही है. एक भाकरा के कारण हमारी खेती हो रही है भाई, हैं? और वो जितने आप प्रोजेक्ट निकालो, चाहे नॉर्थ ईस्ट में जाओ, कहीं जाओ, सरदार सरोवर ले लो, कुछ भी ले लो आप. Irrespective of everything, we have benefited from the water sources, right? So a long-term path for India is, as much as we think of electricity, which is a byproduct of hydropower, right? Hydropower is a byproduct of water. Predominantly, we are looking at our dams and storages as water resources, right? So you must see Tehri from that perspective. And this project now, Sir, Tehri Township, it can beat any European location if once you go there. It's so beautiful. Tehri is so beautiful, visit it once. You'll find, this is not in our country. Aisa lagega. It looks like some German or some European location. It's so beautiful. And it is because, thanks to that economic thing of hydropower and how much water is coming. It's going from Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand may not use that much water, but Uttar Pradesh को फायदा होता है, neighboring states को फायदा होता है, भाकरा से 5 states को फायदा होता है, दिल्ली को फायदा होता है. तो ये आपके जहन में नहीं होगा, लेकिन if you go deep into it, you will start understanding these things are so important. So why I'm spending time introducing each of the guests is to make you understand as the next generation that how much work and how much width is there here, right? So thank you, sir, for coming. May I now call Shri D.P. Goyal, another hydro man, because I had to fill the hydro both sides, because I love hydro very deeply as a great renewable, So D.P. Goyal sahab also needs no introduction. He was part of construction of the largest project in Bhutan, which is operating, which is Tala, which is about 1020 megawatt. It is the largest hydro project of Bhutan. He was involved with R.N. Khazanchi sahab. Khazanchi sahab is not here, but he was part of it. This team developed that project, the most difficult, and they completed in absolutely good time. And Bhutan earns all its money more or less from tourism. नहीं चले, कुछ नहीं चले, वो 1000 मेगावाट यहाँ आ जाए, पैसे आ जाते हैं उनके पास, है ना? नेबरिंग कंट्री को फायदा होता है जो उन्होंने किया इसका, क्योंकि उसकी टैरिफ से सारा भला होता है. Yes, 22% of their revenue for the country's GDP comes from hydropower sold to India, and the largest one is this 2000 megawatt. उसमें 1000 तो इनके ही हैं जो उन्होंने बनाया. ठीक है. Other than that, he completed the fastest project in the history of India. It is called the Karcham Wangtu project. It was with JP because he was that time director in the JP and also director in JP Ventures also, right?
Yeah, I was the managing director of JP Karcham Hydro
Right. So he was the Karchamangtu managing director. And after the Bhutan experience, this project was built in 4 years flat. It's a record in the country and the region that no hydro projects has been built so fast. Then let me call my very good friend K.K. Gupta also. K.K. Gupta Sahab also needs no introduction. He is an in and out construction infrastructure man. He was with the Larsen & Toubro. I was just narrating when the current chairman, Mr. Subramaniam, who is also our alumnus, he is a senior alumnus to me. Bansal Sahab is the senior most amongst all of us. He is not here today, right, for personal reasons. But जब मैंने उनको, when he was the deputy managing director, Atal Shastra Markenome Awards was done in Delhi. उस award में, to receive the award, because it was not possible for Subramaniam ji to come. I spoke to him. And he had entrusted K.K. Gupta to receive his award. Today, he became a chairman just last few days back. October में, 3rd October, he became finally the chairman of the company. Till that time he was MD. तब वो deputy MD थे. तो आपको importance बता सकता हूँ L&T के अंदर. What was Gupta साहब? His ECC construction group at that time was based out of Faridabad. काफ़ी काम इधर, एक चेन्नई था, एक फरीदाबाद था. चेन्नई वाले भी हमारे दोस्त थे, राघवन साहब हैं, very good friend. But KK is an old friend, very dear, I would say colleague in the industry, and a wonderful performer. He's done a lot of work in the construction infrastructure. He's a great expert in the area. Let me also introduce my schoolmate, my batchmate also in a way, because he did it from NIT Jaipur और हमने किया NIT कुरुक्षेत्र से, बस नहीं फर्क था, पर हम उसी बेंचों में बैठे हैं, आगे पीछे सब होके, from APJ school. So it's Inderdeep Singh. Inderdeep is a wonderful guy. He is the chair for the Institution of Engineers in Faridabad. He does his own lot of work. He is now part of REPA also. We are trying to see whether we can progress what we are doing here to training schools, colleges. कुछ इसको आगे, either we have a REPA NDIM Center of Excellence in Renewable Energy. The students know it. And last batch we have put 59 students on the job. I'm trying to extend that position through to other areas, like engineering colleges, students. So this could progress to the next level with that. We are already doing here. Then the name, both NDIM and REPA will take it forward to the rest of the country. So this is the incubation of the idea of to train people in the area of renewables. So it is not going to be limited to what we are doing. You are also the seed capital, because your batches are the first one which are going through it as a benefit for you. But then this will progress. So you can imagine what type of people are associated, very strong, very powerful. And we are discussing that whole issue, how to progress further. So thanks Inderdeep for taking time off from your business and coming here. It's a tough time. And I have a friend whom I made friends in Facebook, and I have not met him. He's been trying to meet me. But now we are together. He's from Assam. He's from Northeast. He's also an engineer. It's Prashant Raba. I would like to have Prashant right over here. And Northeast is very important for all of us. Let me tell you that if the Northeast unleashes its power, I'll give you an example. The total potential of hydropower with the state of Arunachal Pradesh, assessed by our body, government also will come to that conclusion shortly, because there are new surveys to be done. At this point, surveys are from the past. Whatever geographic or geological surveys have been done, they are older ones. The data is older. So if the new data, we have reasonable data using NASA, other sources and all, of the water capacity and the sources in the rivers in Arunachal. I can tell you that the good news which I have been now conveying, the good news is Arunachal is a massive 150 gigawatt of potential minimum, and it could expand to 250 gigawatt. Can you imagine what I'm saying? Our total capacity of power generation in India is 400 gigawatt at this point, 420 to be precise around. Arunachal has more than half of it. So that is the reason our neighbors are so attracted to look at Arunachal Pradesh, our one neighbor which is not reconciling to the fact that India will rise. I'm not naming, better not, because ours is not a forum for politics. Ours is a forum for economics, correct? But yes, it's there, the pressure is there. But we will build, because the largest hydro project will come up shortly. I think by the month of January you will see that. But we struggled for years together, right? And that is none other than the Subhansiri project. Thanks to the wonderful engineers in NHPC who have committed the task to complete it. and a great company. It's a tough time for them always. Hydro building is not easy. So ये आ जाएगी आपके ग्रिड में. हर प्रोजेक्ट को ऐसे ही आप देखेंगे इंडिया में जो हैंग अप हुआ है वो 10 साल 15 साल हुए हैं जो डिफिकल्ट प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं. बिकॉज जो जियोलॉजी है हिमालयन जियोलॉजी उसमें काम करना आसान नहीं है वैसे भी. पर अब क्या है टेक्नोलॉजी हैज़ कम so the Himalayan geology can be handled, right? Which is a challenge, engineering challenge. So in some projects, technology like TBM has also been used, जबकि TBM use नहीं होती है in the Himalayan region because you can't move the big machine in the Himalayas. If you move it, the Himalayas move. That's the thing. So you have to work with smaller capacity equipment and slowly go, and blasting also to be done very carefully. So it's a very difficult task to work in the Himalayas. They are the youngest mountains in the world. So this is the geology and physics of it. So when you work in the youngest mountain, you have to have certain better technology. The best experience is with Indian engineers and working in Himalayan geology. It's not with Chinese engineers or I would say any other engineers in the world. Even the European engineers gain their access to India because people who have done Itaipu dams, large dams in other countries, they are coming and learning either in Bhutan or India. So ये Himalayan geology एक आसान काम नहीं है, but I'm saying nothing is impossible. All things are taken over after a certain time when you have data, you have experience, you have engineering empirical analysis, then you can take it. So this is our panel for the day. And please give one big hand last time for that. So may I request Tyaga to start with the release of the book itself first? Hana? So all our stalwarts are there, so let the book come. All of you can be there only. There's no need to come in the front. Give it to Baba Sahib in the middle. Then he will open and all. Hanji, Hanji. ये थोड़ा मेहनत करा रहे हैं आपसे. पैक बच्चों नहीं करिए. राइट सर. कोई बात नहीं. अगर कम पड़ी तो और ले आना. क्या आ गया सबके पास. Thank you all. I think 2 more books to our professors. कम से कम उनको तो देना चाहिए. बैठे हैं पीछे देखो, है ना. हाँ. So thank you all, sir. The thought on the book, as I told you, the thought was because I saw Baba Sahib has also helped me in the thinking in between. He has set some agenda and thinking in front of me early on, right? So the foreword is written by Bansal Sahib. Vishwamohan Bansal Sahib has written the foreword for the book. This book is my first hat wearing the position of being the professor at NDIM and the associate dean. The other books have been different. Okay, so it's interesting. It's a short book, but each chapter you will have to use your mind. The first chapter, some of you students must have heard, which actually gets into the fundamentals of Ricardian economics and principle. I have gone back to Ricardian era compared to Porter era. So some link you will see there. I'm not discussing it right now. We will discuss through the thing. The whole idea was how to take a direction towards the new thing that is happening, which is sustainability is going through the SDGs, right? We have SDGs focus here in the institution. But we found in our own experience that economies will not get funded. And this experience was even more stronger in the last 1 year. Over a period of time, the ESG compliance is not that important as much as the SDG compliance. SDG compliance will need about 17 of the SDGs to be fulfilled and 160 more elements to be taken care of. And it will become even more tougher than what you're seeing in the SDG, in the ESG mechanism. So what's happening to new economies is that they have to go away from carbon-based development. Fossilized development से दूर जाना है उसको. तो वो कैसे जाएंगे? हम जितना आगे जा रहे हैं, we are seeing we still are using fossil fuels. We still are trying to use CNG, or CNG is a fossilized approach, right? So there is one chapter dedicated to bio-CNG. Rawat Sahab, आपकी नज़र में. So bio-CNG, what happens? REPA made the white paper for the production of bio-CNG. So in that chapter, I've said, if the 640,000 villages of India, even if 50% of villages of India each have a dedicated use of the agro waste and hybridization with the animal husbandry waste, then the quantum of gas that we'll produce is so massive that only 30% we can use. The rest will be exported to the world. So you can imagine where the thing is lying. So it was necessary for us to put this up, because unless we put this up, the policy makers will not be in a position to make a decision. And there are other areas like people think storage will benefit, right? So I am telling you, more than the storage, CBG will benefit. So if you look at the organization that is leading the CBG revolution is Indian Oil. Okay, Indian Oil Corporation is the nodal. And the nodal officer, Mr. Shantanu, he came here. He also is a recipient of award at the Inertia Awards. But that is the company that is actually leading the entire revolution to produce CBG in the country. The first bioenergy pump is also there, and there are many coming in across the country. So you can have an option of going and filling your vehicles with the bio-CNG instead of CNG. The option has to come from you. It's the market that has to bring the option. Then this whole thing will become a market. अब वो CNG दोनों तरफ से बन रही है, फॉसिल से भी बन रही है कि हम गैस इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, गैस इंपोर्ट करके उसको CNG में कन्वर्ट कर रहे हैं. उसकी जगह अगर आप बायो CNG बोलें, यहाँ पर आप ढूंढना शुरू करेंगे जब मार्केट से भाई कहाँ मिल रही है, अभी कम है, लेकिन जैसे जैसे आप पूछने लगेंगे आपकी CNG कार बढ़ना शुरू हो जाएगी. सो दैट इज अ बिगर रेवोल्यूशन दैन इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल, बिकॉज व्हाट इज इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल डूइंग टुडे? Whatever we are doing with electric vehicles, at the end of the day, we are consuming thermal power. रात को हम चार्जिंग करते हैं, तो रात को तो सोलर नहीं होगा, और विंड भी इंटरमिटेंट है. उसकी वेलोसिटी जरूर बढ़ती है कि सर्टन पीरियड ऑफ द नाइट, बट विंड इज थ्रू आउट द डे, right? Depending on the temperature. And it's again, everything action is the sun only. Sun is creating the changes and all that. चाहे वो आपकी waves की changes हों, चाहे आपकी air में changes हों. Ultimately, wind is susceptible. You cannot predict even the offtake into the grid. We don't know how much capacity. अचानक gigawatt scale में वो down and up होता है. ठीक है? So if this happens, the only base load power plants or continuous operation power plants are coal-based thermal power plants. So effectively, the electric vehicle industry, which is using lithium-ion battery, using a BLDC motor to drive it, is ending up consuming predominantly coal-based power. Whereas in the CNG, we will at least green, because compared to coal or any other format of, I would say methanized fuel, this is a biomethane, which is clean. And when we purify it and get it to the vehicle, what is left is a high-grade, high-carbon embedded organic fertilizer. So that organic fertilizer, Rawat Sahab is working on. That this part is not connected. अभी तो क्या खाली CBG बेचने की बात हो रही है. तो सरकार भी हमें कह रही है कि अयर साहब इसका कुछ करिए कि ऑर्गेनिक फर्टिलाइजर का आगे कुछ हो, इसकी मार्केट बने. उसका भी प्राइस मैंने इस बुक में दिया है. Currently, I saw that at Varna. You can imagine where I am discovering things. I went to my friend Vinayak Kore, who's built a small, उस समय वो एक engineering city बनी थी, Varna Nagar in Maharashtra. How many of you heard of this? Have you ever heard of Varna Nagar? It is a self-contained, semi-rural urban उतना नहीं है जितना semi-rural है. It's a sugar belt, literally. Some of the finest sugar cane is growing there. In addition to that, it's खेती तो पूछो मत आप. कहीं आपको really खेती देखनी है ना, and that too done with organic fashion, you should go to this place, Varna Nagar in Maharashtra. It is now controlled by my friend Vinayak Kore. Vinayak Kore is the grandson of Tatya Sahib Kore. I'm supposed to write a biography on Tatya Sahib. Tatya Sahib was the brain behind, see, Varghese Kurian Sahib brought us the milk revolution, which हम कहते हैं white flood कहते हैं, सब कुछ कहते हैं. But this name is not so known outside Maharashtra. Tatya Sahib is called the Sahakar Maharshi. What does that mean? Sahakar Maharshi. What is Sahakar? I want the students to say something, है ना? नहीं बोल रहे. Cooperation को सुना है, cooperative सुना है ना? So cooperative movement के grandfather हैं, father भी नहीं. ठीक है? So Tatya Sahib Kore started the cooperative movement, and that's how उन्होंने एक छोटी सी इंजीनियरिंग टाउनशिप जैसी तैयार की, बच्चों को उस पर काम दिया कि वो चोरी नहीं करें, ये नहीं करें, एम्प्लॉयमेंट आए, उसमें लेके फिर उससे शुगर, मिल्क, ये सब जो जनरेट हुआ, उसके बाद वो अभी आज तक वो सेल्फ कंटेंट टाउनशिप है. सो तात्या साहेब कोरे इज दैट्स व्हाई कॉल्ड सहकार महर्षि, एंड ही वाज द वर्ल्ड्स फर्स्ट मैन to bring an organized cooperative movement. So don't you want to give a clap for the great Tata Sahebs? So these are the stories that I would like to bring to you what I saw. So they're running a 4.5 tons per day plant using roughly 100 to 125 tons of waste, where they actually, you'll be surprised, I saw them putting damaged sauce, Maggi, उससे भी गैस बन रही है. Can you believe? लोग ला रहे हैं, मैगी ला रहे हैं, ख़राब हो गई है, सॉस ख़राब हो गई है, उसको भी डाल रहे हैं हम डाइजेस्टर में, वो डाइजेस्टर से फिर हम निकाल रहे हैं गैस, और वो 10 साल से गैस निकाल रहे हैं. तो जो गवर्नमेंट की 2018 में सतत की स्कीम हुई, उसका पहला नुमाइंदा तो ये प्लांट था जो 10 साल से बना रहा है. पर वो एक क्वेश्चन है कि ये एक प्लांट जब इतनी सक्सेसफुली कर रहा है, और बगल में IOCL गैस बेच रही थी, उसी CBG को बेच रही थी, सब कुछ हो रहा था, तो इतने साल क्यों नहीं हुआ? सो बेसिकली व्हाट हैपेंस इन दीज मूवमेंट्स, देयर आर लॉबीज. Actually, the lobbies are so strong internationally that they will continue to, क्योंकि उनकी दुकान बंद हो जाएगी ना. सी पेट्रोल डीजल जब तक आपको नहीं बेचेंगे, वही चीज़ें नहीं करते रहेंगे, तब तक उनकी तो दुकान बंद हो जाएगी. दिस इज लाइक कॉम्पिटिशन टू देम. फॉसिलाइज्ड फ्यूल्स हैव टू कंटिन्यू टू डू, दे विल नॉट शिफ्ट. नाउ दिस इज आइसोमॉर्फस फोर्स, क्योंकि ये हमारा वेस्ट है, हमें रिसाइकिल करना है. और आप देखिए, द मोमेंट वी टेक दी एग्रीकल्चर पार्ट ऑफ इट, like organic fertilizer, it is a circular economy. Nothing comes out, everything goes. Carbon, nitrogen required for the soil, my friends, for its productivity. Reh kya gaya? So it's a biocycle. So stick to organic. So we should not be even interested in the genetically modified crops. क्योंकि जैसे ही आप करोगे, आपकी खेती कम हो जाएगी, आप कम एकरेज में काम करोगे, उसके बाद कोई ऑर्गेनिक नहीं मिलेगा, ना ही आपका ये प्रोसेस होगा. सो दिस लॉन्ग टर्म थिंकिंग वी आर ट्राइंग टू सेंड टू पॉलिसी एंड प्लानर्स. क्योंकि अब हमारी जो इंपोर्ट की बिल है वो इतनी ऊपर हो रही है एनर्जी इंपोर्ट्स की, जो गलतियां यूरोपियन यूनियन में हुई है, वी डोंट वांट द सेम थिंग्स टू हैपन. सो द बुक गोज टू अफ्रीका. इट सेज इंडिया, मिडल ईस्ट एंड अफ्रीका. यू नो व्हाई? नाउ आई एम गिविंग यू द फिगर्स फॉर यू. यू आर ऑल मैनेजमेंट स्टूडेंट्स. कीप इट इन योर हेड व्हाट आई एम गिविंग यू टुडे. इट्स इन द बुक बट आई एम ओपनली गिविंग यू, सो इट्स ईजी, देन यू विल रीड मोर. India is a 3.5 trillion economy. At this juncture, it's expected to be 3.7 trillion. Assuming that we expect that our 23 audits bring us to 3.7 trillion, we are 1.5 billion. We are ahead of China in population. वहाँ जीत गए उनसे, ठीक है ना. अब हमें और जीतना है ना. वो कैसे कर सकते हैं? So हमारे पास हमारा रास्ता निकालना पड़ेगा ना. We have to find a way for ourselves, right? So what is the way? We have always had great relations with the Middle East economies. If you see from the beginning itself. So whether it's a UAE, whether it's I would say even a Qatar, you look at most of the economies in the Middle East. You can look at Oman. I explained that to you. We have a lot of friendship with most of the Middle East economies, business-wise. And these economies are slowly becoming hybrids. They are not only dependent on the oil, right? They also want to shift to other forms of, opportunities for growing the GDP. There are 483 million, 18 countries in Middle East. Forget what's happening politically right now. This is a temporary thing. It will go off in some way, but it takes time. Thoda sa dangerous is what's happening right now. But the economy part I want to explain. 483 million people in the Middle East are responsible for $5.08 trillion of economy. Can you believe that? I will just explain to you. UAE. UAE is today 900 billion. How many people are there in UAE? Any guess for population of UAE? नहीं यार, ज़्यादा है. आओ सही जगह पे आओ. नो, बहुत दूर चले गए तुम. एक और गैस दूंगा फिर बता दूंगा. Right, somebody said 1 crore. Who said that? It was 1.1 crore. Okay, that means roughly 11 million people, right? Of that 1.1 crore that you are talking about, I will tell you 30 lakhs are expats from India, which includes all. मतलब उसमें Muslims भी हैं, Hindus भी हैं, Christians भी हैं. मतलब I'm saying the Indian diaspora. There are a lot of also people from Pakistan, Bangladesh. It's like what can fuse in over there. But basically, the Indian community is very strong, and a lot of migration has happened from places like Mangalore and Kerala, right? And I told you that Oman was mostly Tamilian, and now we're seeing labor going from Uttar Pradesh towards Saudi Arabia and all that. So many countries are absorbing. So different type of skills are being asked for. So already हमारे लोग present हैं, right? There's an Indian diaspora present. So what is happening in this is very interesting, right? This 5 trillion economy is moved by a lot of these Indian people. Realize that, So they're gaining employment. They're also getting long-term, I would say, stay benefit. They're not issued a long-term visa, but they are resident visas are given for long period for that. They can even start a business. Now, you don't need a partnership in UAE, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah. I'm meeting those people next week. So you don't need any partner. You can open your own company, right? This is the change that's happened there. So this is an opportunity for India, right, in a big way. I was in Ras Al Khaimah in 2011. I addressed the Ras Al Khaimah authority. The local sheikh did not want to speak. He said, Iyer sahab, you make him speak. I was thinking he will start everything, but उन्होंने मुझसे बुलवाया. It went to the Arabic paper, to the Khalij Times, and everything came out. मैंने उसमें कहा कि silicon is the next oil. ये मैंने बड़ा simple, क्योंकि they don't understand complicated language. मैंने next oil is silicon. तो ये भी complicated लगा, ये क्या बोल रहा है? Silicon कैसे oil हुआ? And you see what's happened today. Solar industry का growth हुआ. Silicon was the next oil, right? So it's like that. But that's not going to happen with lithium, my friends. As I explained to you, the flaw, right? It will be hydrogen fuel cell based electric vehicles. So hydrogen की जब technology आएगी उससे चलेगी. So the battery that you are talking about, you'll see a fuel cell operating it, right? So that car will come from Japan and Germany and such countries. It will not come from any other source. Because they are building that. They're going to a different level, right? So they're working on the hydrogen in a different way, right? So this part is very important also because हमारी जो CBG है, अगर हम CBG से हम compressed biogas ना use करें, तो हम उससे hydrogen भी निकाल सकते हैं. So this is a great potential. If you don't export, full opportunities open to us to convert that into hydrogen. In addition, I'm telling you, even कोयला काम आएगा, क्योंकि मैं कोयले को गंदा नहीं मानता. वो गंदा तब होता है जब आप उसको burn करते हो, combust करते हो, तभी वो गंदा होता है. ज़मीन के नीचे पड़ा कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, right? It's helpful to you, right? The high carbon. I once went to this place which is called the Vindhyachal. Vindhyachal is peculiar because जो वो district है, it is carved out of 2 states. It's the only probably district, Siddhi district, जो आधा MP में है और आधा UP में है. वहाँ से रास्ता रीवा की तरफ जाता है. So I landed at Banaras, Varanasi that time, and I went up into that belt to see coal mining and मैं सासन में गया, रिलायंस के प्लांट देखने गया. Early stages में बने भी नहीं थे, मतलब they were just excavating and putting the boiler up and all. So I had been to this place, Anpara. I went to the most remotest areas to see what's happening. What I realized, all of this, क्योंकि वहाँ सबसे पहले how quick and productive is the soil. We were at a ढाबा. In the ढाबा हमने मूलियाँ मंगाई और प्याज मंगाए हमने. वो इतने तीखे थे, 10 times तीखे थे ज़्यादा. तो उस ढाबे वाले ने मैंने कहा यार ये ऐसे क्यों छोटी हैं और मतलब बहुत कहते हैं नहीं सर इधर कोयला है ना ज़मीन पे. You understand? See, we don't think, कभी being good engineers and physicists and everything, we suddenly don't think. And that man told me, sir, इसके कारण होता है जल्दी, मतलब बहुत जल्दी पक जाता है, बहुत जल्दी ग्रो होता है. मिर्ची भी बहुत तगड़ी थी. So I saw it's not a farming नहीं होती है, या तो कोयला निकालो या फार्मिंग करो, है ना. तो अब क्या तरीका है हमारे पास? There is a technology. It's called coal bed methane. So if you extract the CBM, what is available to us? We have the 5th largest geographic deposit of coal in the world. Taking it out and using it is a very environment unfriendly system. But if we can generate CBM, coal bed methane is again, it could be fossilized. But for me, I don't see it's a fossilized opportunity. I see CBM to hydrogen as a great opportunity. So therefore for me, I've written that. I don't believe in this green, blue, yellow, violet and different labeling of hydrogen. Hydrogen is hydrogen. It's a clean fuel. So we can get it from any source and we should think what is good for us. And then not allow the carbon to escape in the environment so that carbon dioxide emission don't come in. So sequestration is the way forward, right? So technology of sequestration of carbon and the ability to extract natural gas out of it and utilize it not as gas but as hydrogen is the game. So you can see these things have come only in this book. It's not written anywhere in any research, nowhere in the world. Believe me, it's the first book that is actually talking in this direction. ठीक है, सब बोलेंगे ये एडवांटेज है, वो सब थ्योरीज हैं. असली बात क्या है कि इट्स अबाउट एंडोमेंट्स. व्हाट डू वी हैव, हमारे पास क्या है, हमारे पास जो नहीं है हम उसकी बात नहीं कर सकते. सो सर्टन एंडोमेंट्स हैव टू बी एक्सप्लॉइटेड. देन द एक्सपर्टीज इज इंडिया इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट. वी आर नॉट टॉक्ड अबाउट, वी टॉक अबाउट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. आई कैन टेल यू, गुप्ता साहब विल एंडोर्स, वी आर द बेस्ट EPC people in the world. Do you agree, sir? यही हमारी जो मुश्किल है, वी हैव नॉट मार्केटेड दिस, वी हैव नॉट टॉक, वी टॉक ऑफ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, वी आर वेरी स्ट्रांग इन ईपीसी. हम किधर जाके, एंड ईपीसी डज नॉट मीन ओनली बिल्डिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स, बिल्डिंग पोर्ट्स, बिल्डिंग ब्रिजेस, बट मैं आज कहता हूं कि अफ्रीका विच इज 60% ऑफ द ग्लोबल एरेबल लैंड, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग और खेती करने में हमसे बढ़िया लोग मिल ही नहीं सकते. इमेजिन द एंटायर पंजाब, एंटायर हरियाणा, some could be, the Karnataka is doing great farming, Maharashtra are waiting to go with Africa and make it the food basket of the world. Yes, for sure. They also come. What I'm trying to tell you is food basket of the world is going to be Africa, whether we like it or not. 60% of the arable land lies there. So time has come to bridge this. So that is why the concept of IMEAnomics. India, Middle East and Africa form a great geographic alliance. There is no trade bloc. There are trade blocs. Recently, one chapter I have dedicated to the India Middle East Economic Corridor, which is called IMEC. But it is like what we are doing. China builds the BRI, and we are trying to compete with the BRI. I'm telling you, we should put a bigger line than BRI. सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है, उस लाइन को मत मिटाने की कोशिश करो, वो लाइन अपने आप ही मिट जाएगी. आप एक बड़ी लाइन साइड से डालो. So this India, Middle East, Africa is my big line for economic agenda, and this the European Union will benefit also in a huge way. Because उनकी जो अभी जो हालत है, that will completely shift if they engage with Africa. But they do not have a method in which they can come. So the EPC expertise of India and a little technological integration with Europe does the whole game. And capital, the Americans have enough capital, I'm telling you. $20 trillion per annum for the last 10 years, just calculate that. How much they have? 240 trillion worth of traction. 240 trillion. What is coming to you? We see some one Musk, one this, one that. America has 1 lakh, I'm telling you, trillionaires. उससे कम नहीं है. उनकी जो access to wealth है, उसमें से अगर 1 lakh में से, even अगर उसका 10%, which is 10,000, decide to get into climate action, imagine what we are talking. Where are we going to go? Right? So this somehow, this is what I'm talking about, the Ricardianism, that endowments are not immovable assets, which has been taught in the books forever. In my book, I say no. The only difference is, go to Leontief paradox. Vasily Leontief, when he found it out, you must have read this in management or will be reading. So when he found out that America has a lot of capital, but it does not go into capital intensive manufacturing industry. ये उसकी observation थी. So many economists just left it and said, this is Leontief's paradox. बड़ा आसान था, तो paradox बोल दो, छोड़ दो, है ना, इसको काम ही मत करो उस पे. So that answer I have given in the book. It's not a paradox, it's a real finding. Because the IT sector of India, if you see white collar, blue collar, this is a high-end labor. It integrated with the technology side of America. And it resulted in a very big game. So many big companies came out of that, right? So the endowment of India was this expertise of programmers and others. And the endowment of America was capital. So they met. Either we move there or they do offshoring. ये हुआ तो सही ना. So this was not a paradox. This is a reality. It was only the misunderstanding of endowments as fixed assets. Endowments are not fixed assets. So in the Ricardian principles, he was actually challenging the absolute advantage theory of the, whatever you call it, the father of trade theory, father of economics, Adam Smith. If Adam had not come, Ricardo कहाँ से लिखते? तो एडम ने एब्सोल्यूट एडवांटेज की बात करी. उसने कहा कि जिसके पास आयरन ओर होगा वो स्टील बनाएगा, जिसके पास अच्छी खेती होगी वो खेती करेगा, ठीक है, अच्छी सॉइल होगी वो खेती करेगा. तो these were endowments, right? This understanding of endowment has to move away from being immovable assets to movable assets. That one endowment can meet the other. So what's happening in Middle East is our endowment and their endowment is clubbing together, right? So every time the endowments, then only countries can cooperate, collaborate, work, multilateralism will form. So this is, the trade theory needs a little flip over there. And little flip has come in this book. It has come at NDIM. It's come from a professor of NDIM, not from a professor of Harvard and Stanford. Due respect to them, right? And we have done dozens of, I would say such events here. So with this, I can go on, but a lot of things are there. My mind is always flowing. But I will start with our guests now quickly. This is an introduction for you to warm up and understand that this is deep subject that you are in. You're always in a hurry. And I know student life with tough scenes, असाइनमेंट्स ये वो, पर आज एक दिन बिल्कुल शांति से सुन लो, समझ लो, इंटरेक्ट करो, हो सकता है कि इनके नंबर्स लो, इनको भी मेंटर्स बनाओ, आपका ही फायदा होगा. विद दिस आई वुड फर्स्ट लाइक टू कॉल आवर चेयर फॉर द डे, श्री जी एस बाबा साहब. बाबा साहब, you can go from there, or you want to come here, you can come. Yes. नहीं, मैं नीचे बैठूंगा. नहीं, पहले let's have you all of you. बाबा साहब अपनी ले जाएंगे. Just flip this.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. That shows that you are all ready to listen, right? Good, right? All right. Artificial intelligence has come, right? How old is artificial intelligence? How old is artificial intelligence? बताइए ना, कितने साल पुरानी है? 50-60 years, right? 50-60 years. जब से प्रोफेसर साहब आए हैं तब से आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस है. कैसे वो बोलते हैं, कहाँ से डाटा लाते हैं, कहाँ से कंटेंट आता है, तो लोग बोलते हैं आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. मैं कहा हमारी तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस तभी से ही है जब से प्रोफेसर साहब हैं, और ये तभी से ही है, 60 years से ही है. 55-56 फर्स्ट टाइम द टर्म वाज कॉइन्ड, एंड अराउंड दैट टाइम द आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस हियर, ही इज सो गुड एट डेटा. At every platform, people say कि कहाँ से बोल रहे हो, so यहीं से बोलते हैं, कोई पेपर नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. So I am from the aviation, right? I come from the Airport Authority of India, and aviation is known an industry full with the documentation, referencing, and manuals, right? So one day in a conference, in a meeting with the senior executive where minister and chairman was also there, one officer was reading a paragraph, a reference. So chairman said, would you like to pass on that paper to me? So then he gave that notebook to him, which was blank. He says, you're speaking for the last 5-10 minutes. I thought you were reading. Where are you reading from? He said, 35 years I spent, so I'm reading from here. That's so is a professor. He reads from his mind when he speaks. Right. So now I am standing here with reference to the book. That is one part of it. Not only that the book you can anytime read. I need not to brief you about the book. But then for the students who are here in a big number, right? So what is that you are looking for, where the term of Middle East comes into being, and okay. And it's very unfortunate that we are discussing this subject which is on the Silk Route, and which we think that India should be a bridge between the Middle East and South Africa, and then we are amongst the war, right? So with all deep concern, we all give our condolences to the people we are losing every day. So that is very sad part, right? So, but then as Professor said, it is very temporary, right? It is not going to be permanent, and we all hope that things should settle down very fast, right? So that's one thing. Now coming to why this subject is so important of today, right? Professor Saab has written many books, and he is fond of writing books, as I mentioned. And while I think today we have released one book, he will be ready for another book soon. Doctor, when is the next book's coming? We don't know. But then India is known for bridging with the community. We are known for that. And same way we are known for bridging the businesses, right? The Silk Route used to pass through India. We only have closed that, and probably it will be revived. And I am from the aviation, and we are talking of now going to UK by bus. Their routes have been opened, right? People, it is expensive. Maybe one day it will become cheap. And the future of travel will be by road, because the COVID has brought people back to their cubicles, and the cubicles they can carry with them. The caravan are getting popular, and people want to travel in their home environment, and that's why caravans are getting popular, which is already popular abroad. USA, Canada, we go, everybody owns a caravan. And even if they're not using, at least they're having in the backdrop, because making a room is there more expensive than owning a caravan. So that's why they can have a movable house everywhere. But now, the future is that we will be traveling more. And as you travel more on the road, you are not only traveling, you are communicating with the societies. And when you're communicating, you are learning. And then you are trading also. And trade which takes you back again and again. So that's what is the change. And then Middle East as a gateway to Africa and bridging the economy, India has been a great part of this, right? Now, there is a lot of data we quote, and data is that we will become the third largest. We are already third, and we will become the third sooner, and we will become the top one day. But we do not know. The data is very dynamic. We already have a war going on. What war, this shape it will take, we do not know. So we should not believe in the numbers, but we should believe in the trends, right? The numbers could be changing, but the facts and the trends will stay back. Trend is that India had always been a sustainable nation, and it will continue, God forbidden, it will continue to be as sustainable as one could think of. And if in COVID, if any nation who have never had a fear, it was India, and India showed the way to the world. So sustainability is there, it built into us. And the data, as I mentioned, data figures keeps on changing, and they are not stable. But then here comes what makes this book that will come true, right? We Indians by nature are able to drive what the other person wants, right? And that is one reason you will find Indians everywhere, right? And what for they are there? They are there for the jobs or the productivity for that nation. Those countries, those nationality are keeping them there. It is not by gratis, it is only because they need them. So we are people who have been loved by the people abroad, right? So that means that we can survive and we can sustain in any environment, right? Sometime when you are looking for a good AC, and then you say ki Dubai wala model lena, because that can sustain 55 and 60 degree, and in full of heat that AC will work in India. But when they have to look for a labor, they say ki Indian labor lena, because they can sustain in all weather. उनको जगह मिले ना मिले, weather कैसा भी हो. So we are loved for that. We have been protected. We have got a niche. People know, recognize us for some reasons. So that's the reason that we are sustainable. We can deliver. We can deliver, and world knows that. Right? So that's where here this books comes from, and this books also talks about anything which is needed, be it PPP, be it modeling of any kind. But above that, it talks of happiness index and prosperity, and how that can be achieved. And maybe if any benchmark that will be looked for among the countries over a period of time, that will be the happiness index. Bhutan has already shown that matters, and probably India is also known for that. But some or other, we are a mix. We like commercialism as well as the happiness. But then our happiness is derived more from more money than for anything. But that has been now recognized, that we are happy, and that happiness is because of our diversity. That diversity keeps us alive. Right, and then we will continue to evolve. As I was reading writing the prelude for the book, And then it's not that the book has been written and then it will come into action the next day. Rome was not built in a day. We will have to continuous work in that direction. And that is the reason this book is being disclosed among the students of this institution, because their minds are very agile and they can work on that. They can work on that. And you had a lot of conferences, seminars, where this subject shall be deliberated further. Shall be this content of this book shall become the part of discussion and deliberation at your discourses, whatever the subject where it comes into being. So that periodically we should review this. So that's one role at your end is. And then we can draw a roadmap for working on that. That could be in the form of we should expand the parameters which have been mentioned. They are not limited to that. We can add more and more paragraphs to that. And then the focus has been that we should catch them when they are young. So the students who are sitting there, they should not get drifted towards the ongoing environment on which they are seeing. They should see that there is something beyond that, right? This war and COVID has made many people sad. There's nothing to become sad, because we have been sustained over in the past, and we will sustain in the future too. So that's why we want that this institution can think of bringing some scholarship schemes, so that this subject is retained in the minds of the young people. We can draw some kind of roadmap for 2040 action-oriented students or volunteers from other institutions. This is a great opportunity for your institution to become an anchor for dealing with other institutions developing this subject. And some kind of a competition, some kind of a scholarships can be brought into being. And then we can create a team of volunteers. It could not necessarily official, not on becoming government, but it could be volunteer also. And then institutions, the teachers, the leaders have great role in developing that students shall be inculcated towards expanding trade and economy from outside the country. It hasn't happened in the past, but then it has not happened the way we wanted. So because we had been used by the business powers abroad, but now we want that we should not be used. We should use our potential and skill in harnessing the business potential of our nation. That's one thing. And then money makes the merry-go-round. Writing the books will not be sufficient that we bring this into being. Maybe some kind of funds, maybe some kind of resources needs to be allocated, generated, or established. Industry can come forward, or some like-minded person can come forward, and they should be, as I mentioned, there should be a roadmap drawn, and for that there should be a fund, or there should be some kind of resource bank that should be there. We should analyze what kind of resources are needed. Could be in the form of human resource, could be in the form of some money, and could be in the form of some kind of bilateral, some kind of networking between the nation and the university and students. So like I recall, in good old days, our school used to have an association with South African school, or schools in German, schools in Korea, and that there used to be bilateral system, knowledge exchange. So that something could be on those lines, we can always think. And then nothing comes on the ground without the government support. And these projects like this, we need the government support, be it at the ministry level, be it at the PMO level, and then that will come only once a momentum has been started by the institutions like you. And once there is a wave which has started, and then it will draw the attention of everybody who is working for this cause. That's one thing. And examples, I can give examples of sustainability that has come into being from aviation. You see, if we talk of 30 years back when I started, there were only four airports: Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Chennai. Probably then we ended in 5 international airports. And today we have got 25 plus international airports. And there used to be 10 or 12 major airports. Now we got 125, 30 airports. And then the government is saying that we are going to add 200 airports in the coming years. So country already has 500 airports which are underutilized, underdeveloped, or not used at all, which they are going to revive. So sustainability is there. Efforts needs to be there, and focus efforts needs to be there. So coming to the book, yes, I am sure that book will attract you all, and it will not only attract the avid reader, but it will also attract the students and the government officials and the policy maker and the thinkers who are interested in developing this further. And readers will find that this is just this will open the mind that will compel them to take up further projects in the same area. And as I mentioned, Silk Route is very important and dear to everybody. I have partly traveled on the Silk Road from Russia to Tashkent to Samarkand, Uzbekistan, and the people recall how healthy it used to be for trade. And now I think it is being revived, and projects like this will further compel the projects to open. So I think the wisdom will prevail, and this project will come true. This book shall be taken as a project in itself. Only then this will take shape in reality, and people will take good appreciation. That's what I personally feel. And right, we are here. Anything further, we can really satisfy your quench on the subject. Right? Thank you very much. Thank you for everything. Jai Hind.
I think this must be somebody else. So, the last part, I just missed the Africa part for you, because India is 3.7 trillion, roughly, 2023 if you take. Middle East is 5.08 trillion with just 483 million population. The third figure that comes in is 1.46 billion of the whole African continent, and their economy is 3.11 trillion, roughly. So if you add all of that, we're already at 11.92 trillion for this IMEA, that is India, Middle East, Africa. So I have given a very logical, reasonable target, because 2025, this will be 13 trillion. And there's no rocket science in this. इतना तो बढ़ ही जाएगा by virtue of inflation ही, ठीक है ना? क्योंकि I don't predict and forecast without proper arithmetic means. It's important to know that. Suddenly because we talked about 5 trillion long ago here, 2015 I said, but I had warned in this thing when I announced that, because it was picked up by the government for sure, and thankful that they picked up. Whoever it is there, if they hear us, it's great. 5 or 6 policy constructs have come, which has appeared in your booklet also of NDIM. Those policy constructs which dynamically shifted. One of them was CBG policy itself. Rawat Saab is evidence to that. And Sara kuch dekha hai. And the man who's become the advisor is Tarun Kapoor Saab to the Prime Minister. So he was the Petroleum Secretary then when we pushed this. And he said, Ayer Saab, jaise solar ki aapne madad ki thi, aap isme bhi ek white paper nikaliye. So the result was that when the officer said that it is needed, then we went into the technology interface of that. So basically, if you see this, it is possible to have 40 trillion, but then the rider is it has to be SDG based. And that is what the initiative at NDIM is all about. We have a separate cell on SDG because many of these students are part of the club, according to me, right? That is one. The other is the REPA NDIM Center for Renewable Energy, because the driver is renewable. You go anywhere, aapko pata chalega, physical greening is not a word, it is a real action. You have to have the portfolio for delivering the green energy. आप चाहे गाड़ी चलाएं, चाहे आप किसी स्टूडियो में बैठें, चाहे आप यहाँ बैठें, बिजली लें, कुछ भी करें, इसके अंदर बिजली आ कहाँ से रही है, आपकी ट्रांसपोर्ट सेक्टर कैसे चल रही है, आपकी गवर्नमेंट कैसे मशीनरी चल रही है. द मोमेंट यू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग, you have to power all of this using renewable sources, not fossil source. This is the shift, right? So the SDG 7 becomes an all-pervading activity across the SDGs, right? Right now, that is not the way the UN has drafted it. It is abstract because there's hunger, there's poverty, there's other things, there's gender equality. But all of this cannot come unless we have a certain methodology to deliver it. The methodology starts from adopting or shifting the whole planet's movement and mobility and its work from fossilized approach to a renewable approach. So that is why I introduced the word. First time, of course, this was discussed with Bansal Saab also, and he was very keen. He said, "Aap kariye isko, introduce isko, let's." So I introduced the first chapter itself, the word renewability. Now, renewability is nothing to do with only renewable energy. I defined that to two classes that came in, the 2 lectures that happened here on the BRSR. That time I declared, but I repeat. Renewability basically comes from replenishability. That whatever activity we are doing, it should be replenishable. That's why it is sustainable. And then at the end of the day, that is renewable. So it's not a term to be only having fixation to develop energy. It is a term which can go all pervading across sector from sustainability to next dimension, that is renewability. Like Industry 4.0 of Ethel will go towards digital manufacturing. That's what his vision is all about. Right, sir? So the progress has to be towards renewability. So if India gives this word, it has already happened here, right? So these guys have to talk about it over a period of time. इसको लग जाएंगे 5 साल, समझ में आएगी धीरे धीरे. लेकिन ये यहाँ से मैनेट हुआ है. ये वर्ड ये लोग यूज़ नहीं कर रहे हैं. सस्टेनेबिलिटी भी मैंने 20 साल पहले टूरिज्म से निकाली थी. बाबा साहब, it was in Goa when I was involved with the branding of Goa 2001, because I'm actually bringing out, he's right, another 15, 20, if all is fine, my book on tourism will be out in Mumbai, right? And Baba Sahib is going to help me do that, right, sir? So basically, it's not easy. I met 5 tourism leaders in Mumbai at our another chamber, IMC chamber, of which I am a member. So it was the first founding chamber, founded by Mahatma Gandhi and the Birlas, to be very precise. Okay? The first woman chief who actually became a president of the IMC was, if I tell you, it is just unbelievable, because she was a businesswoman from the Bharat Radiators family. आज वो 90s के ऊपर हैं, nobody remembers her, right? तो ये सब आपको हमको बताना है लोगों को, even at a chamber लोगों को पता नहीं है ये चीज़ें. So basically what I am trying to tell you, there we got the chalet hotels, we got the Taj Group in there on that day. I had the Maharashtra Tourism, wonderful officer has come. This Madam Ms. Joshi is one of the few officers who's taken interest. And when I said that 30 billion investment can be availed by the tourism, provided it does an SDG-based development, they were just shocked. Now I have a meeting with the MTDC to find how to engage in this. Because what came out is, out of the 1500 odd caves that India have, 900 caves are in Maharashtra. तो ये बात हुई. अभी cave को समझते नहीं, it's caves, but this is your historical heritage. There's tourism around it. There's some beautiful places. I was talking about fort tourism long ago, because there are many forts done by Shivaji Maharaj and the Peshwas and all those. They're just amazing sites, I tell you. They have to be just better maintained, create tourism access and travel access, ensure that it is sustainable. That means people don't spoil the place, right? And then create a module that you start creating visitor attraction modules. And the last part I always say is, teach local kids who may be from village, Spanish, French, whatever you can, not only English. मराठी तो आती है उनको, हिंदी भी आती है, महाराष्ट्र में हिंदी बोली जाती है आराम से, लेकिन उनको ये 2-3 और भाषाएं सीखनी है, जिससे कि they can talk about their place. And this happens, this is applicable to all. तो हमें अपना माइंड अलग करना है, लैंग्वेज स्किल्स को थोड़ा विड्थ देना है. Like मैंने कुछ बात कही थी कि Japanese tourists are the highest spenders, and we have some of the extraordinary Buddhist locations in India, and they are the biggest investors in Bodh Gaya. All those temples are because thanks to Japanese people, right? So we should create a model where Japanese get attracted for sustainability. So these are all innovative things, and we have to implement this. We have to push the policymakers towards the direction, because if we need job, employment, creativity, and across the width, not only be IT-centric. I'm not against IT. I'm saying that's also a part.
बट वही सब कुछ नहीं ले सकता ना भाई, यहाँ तो पूरे 100% इंडिया को मौका देना है। वही चीज़ अफ्रीका की प्रॉब्लम होगी, मिडल ईस्ट की प्रॉब्लम कम है क्योंकि इनकी पॉपुलेशन कम है, पर वो हमारे ब्रिज है। सो यू सी द डेप्थ दिस बुक इज टॉकिंग अबाउट। It is all these industries: sustainable tourism, sustainable farming, sustainable energy, sustainable environment. Just 4 elements I have given you, but these 4 elements will enable all the 17 elements of the sustainability. So thanks for this, your understanding, because what happened, the 2 speakers immediately put us on this. I would give, because we have less time, we are running against time, and I want you to interact with them, at least for let's say 15-20 minutes. That interaction should be there, and then we can continue. So I would request each speaker now, the book is there, the renewable energy is there in front of us. Each are your stalwarts. So हर speaker से मैं request करूँगा 3 to 5 minutes.
Well, good afternoon to everyone. Sir, congratulations first of all. In 1960, OPEC was founded by 5 countries. You may be knowing Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. In the backdrop of oil being the next gold at that time, and it used to have influence, and the coordination was started. And the long history had been there till 2019, when Russia entered into as plus members. 13 nations are there now, from 5 to 13. So it's a very, in my opinion, historical movement when we are talking about the union of India, Middle East and Africa, these hyphen, and in a very important era where the startup ecosystem in India is 3rd best in the world. I had been into G20 meetings of startup, 5 meetings, Goa and Gurgaon I was there. And for students, I would try to say that the panel was headed by somebody who is from MIT. He is a person on deputation at NITI Aayog, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav. You can see his biodata, and then you can get the idea where from a great success had come. In May, we had completed almost every important requirements as far as startup issues were concerned in G20. And there in Goa, a startup passport was also revealed and inaugurated, as we are doing something here. At least in the incubators which are recognized by G20 Startup Initiative, the students who or others who are incubating, they can participate and get the facilities for any other incubator in India at least. It may move to other countries in due course, but this was a very momentous event, and I'm linking it
Yeah, I know.
with India, Middle East, Africa, and the second to the Crown Prince Saudi Arab was also there as a trade and investment minister. I had long meetings with him in Goa also, and he turned up in Gurgaon also. And you may be knowing the subsequently after G20, Crown Prince Salman also continued for I think 2 more days to create the give birth to the corridor, which is a momentous development as well. In that backdrop, I want to see and place your effort.
Right, sir.
So this is very important. And in your absence, I had also tried to convey this to some important people, that is a very important event is happening today. And this initiative may be taken to, I think, G20 Secretariat also.
Great, sir. Wonderful.
Yeah. So that's another.
Please give a big hand. See, you guys are involved in this. It's not this chair alone. You youngsters also involved. See what he's trying to tell you. Grab it. See the opportunity. It's happening here.
It will be yours, I think. So it's a New
So
Delhi.
give a big clap to yourself.
Yeah. Secondly, I would tell about this book where Professor Saab has mentioned about Wajli Lientoif, the Nobel Prize winner. His 5 more students won the Nobel Prize in economics.
Yes.
Is such a stalwart. So he talked about the best part of which country should do what. Like in US, the capital is the best part. So they have access to such a huge amount of capital. You told 1 lakh trillion years, 1 lakh trillion years and the share thereof. So capital is there, but what they do with that capital?
Exactly.
They do largely to benefit their domestic home, system.
Yes.
So they utilize and leverage that to the benefit of their own country. And what kind of capital, best abundant capital we have? I asked the question to the students. In India, what capital do we have? Best abundant. Yes.
Exactly. Who said that human capital? You're absolutely right.
Yes, आपके तो सभी के आंसर ठीक है. You can say labor also, human resources be, human capital be, whatever. So we have that abundant capital and we are harnessing positively, like I told you, in this startup journey for G20, I witnessed and I had discussion with this trade and investment minister. He told how in these 5 months, India has developed the complete report and initiative is completed in 5 months. We couldn't do that in their own presidency time.
Right.
So I told maybe this is because of the person who is heading it, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav.
Yeah.
His biodata you can see, and there you will find he wears 3 hats. One is about the business modeling, and another is networking. And you may probably try to see these in a very different perspective. What business model would mean to your own career as well as networking in the times of 5G and 6G integration, useful for the such a massive resource, manpower that is. So this is the second point I wanted to align with the strength of India, which should be harnessed. In recent months, I had been working with the National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, which has also acquired the deemed to be university status in the end of September, just 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks ago. That institution is a very important institution. The Dean of IIT Roorkee is manning it at the moment, Dr. B.R. Gurjar, a good friend of mine. But we are trying to harness into that also the non-formal occupational manpower of India. And around 500 polytechnics are there, government polytechnics. They are not running to their optimum levels in many states. They don't get good students in some states. Like in Haryana, 18 are there. They are not bad in Haryana, they are good. But in certain states, students with no score in the written test, they are admitted. So they are into particular situations. Same is the case with Industrial Training Institute or ITIs. And then the vocational schools as well. So this is a workforce area which is the region, in my opinion, in which should be utilized, the abundant resource, the basic strength can come from there, particularly in the green economy region, which Professor Iyer has underlined today. And we have, as in many of the countries in IMEA region, particularly in Africa, we need that kind of 8-9 countries I know, they are working in agriculture in a very big way. Indian partnership is growing there. Students known to me, they have even went to other than these countries, Middle East, they have gone to Ethiopia also in Africa and established a huge land mass, trying to struggle, but they are using agri-tech in a big way. So the green economy component is going. This is the third component I wanted to raise. Fourth and finishing point is my own experience since 2007 and 8. I chaired some committee of sustainable, to make Goshala sustainable. And one of the report was, first report was aligning the renewable energy with the bioorganic fertilizer, the waste. So in next 14 years, up to 2022, we went forward and we met the secretary at that time. I was telling we were developing a policy on the waste to wealth for Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. So other than the Satat scheme, we were discussing at that time. So now I can tell you, there are 3-4 policies which are dealing with making waste to gold and rural areas. But the policy which I'm telling, which I was also part in evolving it, is having no cap, capital cap is no, capex cap is not there. In that, part A is about renewable and combination with bioorganic fertilizer, which I personally had an experience over these years. And 3 models, this is part A. Part B is Panchgavya Day was celebrated in Ramjas College first time. So A and B, both very scientific and validated things were there. But after the policy, we started something in Haryana and Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh, what we call circular economy. And the resultant thereof is the best case you can say, use case you can see in Bardoli. Bardoli sugar factory in the cooperative sector. You told about Sakar, father of Sakar movement.
Yeah,
Datta Sahib. And Bardoli is also witness to also some very big stalwart of cooperative movement,
yes.
Sardar Patel. That's the birthplace of Sardar Patel. There, the Bardoli sugar factory has share value, I think, at the moment around 12 lakh rupees. So that
Yes,
you should
yes.
see. And there we have started something using the press mud and aligning the press mud for production of bioorganic fertilizer, the phosphatic one. And the cost is around, you will be startled to know that, around 600 rupees for 50 kg.
Okay.
And we are importing the same at a cost of around 4,300 rupees. There is a subsidy element of around 3,000 rupees. And we are able to produce at 600 rupees only. So you can see the gap. And on 28th June, the last point I'm completing, the government of India had a cabinet meeting and the reward came. The reward came of all these years. They have extended the support of 50% to the state. Whichever state, they will reduce the consumption of that kind of fertilizer. Say, for example, 100,000 bags are there. If 50,000 bags are assessed, monitored, and reported, that's very important. Like carbon credit, reporting is very important. That's where management students, they can play a very important role. If that is reported, it is a huge revenue. Around 1,500 rupees can come to the state and 1,500 for the central. And there we are trying to build a carbon economies mechanism where carbon credit as well as subsidy both are aligned together. This is the kind of a green economy over and above which we were doing in several years has come up. And these kind of initiatives for the world, they can be expanded to this very important region of the world. And I believe the IMEA, this can be a big opportunity and big platform. And if we all agree on this, so we can work together and take our best resource, human resource, as well as natural resources with the talent, the kind of talent as we try to showcase 500 rupees or 600, 550 rupees only, and 4,300 is a big gap. So these kind of opportunities are available, and I finish with a very optimistic note and congratulate everyone present here to this very momentous occasion. Thank you very much.
A small figure in chapter 8 of the book, to just second what biogas does to you. See, if all the 3 lakh villages come into picture, then our revenue per annum from selling all that gas is a massive 506 billion opportunity. In Indian rupees, it is about 40.5 trillion. I've given all this math. So this math is available in the chapter number 8. So right now he said about 500 rupees. See, I'll tell you, Varna is selling this in the local at about 110 rupees for 40 kg bag. So highly competitive. They are not getting the volume because 4.5 ton ka wo gas ka plant hai. So they are selling at a very, very low price of 110 rupees kg with Varna branding over there. So I was just stunned how they are selling this. So agar ye, because they have done it for quite a few years. So I think you must come to Varna Nagar and have a look at what they are doing. Because there is I think this is important to actually integrate and as he rightly said, the fertilizer companies have not taken the initiative. And that initiative has to be pushed by forums like us. Because it's not just production of gas. So this is what it is. So it's wonderful. I would now request TC Arora Sahab to put his few words, either through coming here or jaise aapko lage. Aaiye.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Professor Saab, and the delegates on the dais. Well, everybody has talked about the sustainability and India, Middle East, East Africa. I think there was an eye-opener and a curtain raiser. There are opportunities, plenty of opportunities. Well, I was going through certain papers which talks about the net zero economy by 2050 in the global, and the investment required for that is $192 trillion. And out of that, about $12 to $13 trillion is only for India, estimates by them by 2050. If you look at the areas of investment, it is energy, it is industry, it is agro, it is also materials and electrification. When I say electrification, it is the transport. Because we have to come out of the fossil fuel and go into the electrical vehicles. So there's a lot of business. And when we talk about the global, and when I talk to the future business leaders sitting in front of me, I think you should concentrate on your business models at skills and your engineering skills to attack the business profile of various countries and especially for India. I would not like to take much time except saying that you are the future and you should take more interest in your business skills, especially in the business models and new concepts which can be utilized for extracting and exploiting the business volume which is to come in next 25 years. Thank you. We can talk on this subject for days together, but
So anyway, my friends, as I said, we need to give the time to all the speakers. So I would now like to get none other than S.K. Shukla, because that is the case of Gabon. So little experience on what you did. You can come here, sir. There's no issues. Yahan par aa jayiye. And he did a complete report on an African country, and it was not through the government. It was done by private mode. And this report was in a country called Gabon in Africa. It was in the hydro potential. So he and Mr. Murthy is not here, but they led the report.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. For my Gabon visit along with team, another director, Mr. Murthy, prime mover was Professor Iyer. And this was one wonderful happening. Gabon, that Sultanate, they called us, and with that later we reached there without any visa or anything. We were introduced, and we went there 3 times and completed the report. The Gabon country was rich in minerals, hydrocarbon, and hydropower potential. Mighty rivers are there, and something of the order of 2000 gigawatt was the potential what we estimated those time. Survey investigation was done, reaching into the remotest part of Gabon in very difficult terrain areas. And I tell you, this happened somewhere in 2012-13. The earlier regime of French, who had occupied Gabon, they had developed only thermal power and very meager amount of hydropower, because they found it easier to exploit the resources of mineral power. Gabon is very rich in minerals. And the second presence was of Chinese there. And when we gave the report, this was startling. For 25 lakhs people, they were stunned, and in government circles in Gabon, we discussed all these issues, and later on they would be implementing it. So that was the type of situation. Hydropower is very difficult to execute, to implement, but a proven technology, century-old technology, and very much established. And when we talk about renewable energy through SDGs or anything, because if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, we talk about green energy, we talk about energy efficiency, conservation of energy, we talk so many things, 17 goals we have listed. All these require vast work. And one example I will give you. This book, if you look at, this says a figure of 40 trillion by 2040. Very difficult to put the figure. And I can tell you one background which you will appreciate. Professor Iyer was the person in this country who gave the figure of developing 75,000 megawatt of solar power to 1 lakh megawatt of solar power somewhere in 2005. This is 2024, 20 years back. That is the figure he gave. And do you know what was the government figure? Government figure means the stalwarts who were sitting in government, in planning commission, they were talking about 20,000 megawatt. That was the type of difference. And today we are reaching to that scope of renewable energy for solar resources, for wind power. So this is why I am telling you this 40 trillion, because this is very difficult to put the figure. Now you know how to, because you are management students, I will not take much time, but I will just remind you, pinpoint, that you have to understand the scoping of the work. For that, you have to know the work. Now, talking about health in third SDG, or talking about pollution-free in some other SDG, some 8th or something like that. And poverty eradication and standard of living upgradation or about the education. All these are terms only. Putting figure in terms of economy or investment, that is a huge task. And it, because he has very much brought out a pertinent issue of this Indian side of Africa and Middle East. Now, for this, he has put it. So, scoping of work, he understood the detailing of the work is required. And once you do detailing, that means all the type of standards, specifications are properly understood. And then you have to do the quantification. And quantification cannot go alone without qualitative aspect. And then you have to understand the rates which are prevailing. And then you have to work out a grand figure. See the type of economic figures which are very important, very pertinent, very relevant for management students. So this, you have to read each and every word and line of this book to understand what is the scope. This will trigger a sort of, this will explode in your mind a sort of many issues, many aspects which you will yourself start searching, or because so far I am not seen any person standing up for interaction, and without interaction probably you will not absorb the things and you will not develop your project reports. So that will be the difficult aspect. So just reminding you for that, I will not take much of time. I will say that you go through this book thoroughly and be vibrant in your thinking so that you can accomplish a much higher task, because these SDGs, because you know recently you have seen the new front of war has broken up. All these impact the implementation of SDGs, and poverty eradication slows down to that extent. We have to look into all those things. So that's all. Thank you, sir.
So luckily both Shukla Sahab and T. Sirota Sahab have seen what we did. In fact, there's a background history to it. Actually, TC pushed me in the year 2009 to be precise, right? And it was at this Taj Mansingh Hotel in Delhi that 2005 onwards, yes, we started talking, and all this started that time. He has talked about the history ki tabhi se baat ho rahi thi. Lekin 2009 was the time when the great Ambassador Shyam Saran, he came up with a 1200 megawatt initiative for solar. वो 1200 मेगावाट की, मैंने उनको हाथ जोड़ के कहा, सर आज तो सारे कोयले वाले ही आए हुए हैं यहाँ, है ना, पूरा डायस ही हमारा कोयले वाला था. तो we were the loners talking on solar. So we were also okay because you need coal power, there's no question. But our point was, let's give an opportunity to some solar. So वो क्या था? So then it was kept कि उन्होंने कहा कि 1.2 gigawatt हो जाता है. मैंने कहा सर when we talk gigawatt, then ये 1.2 क्या होता है? So then he said, Iyer Sahab, then what do you think? I said, sir, minimum 30-40 gigawatt. He was just shocked. He then said, I will not circulate this report further. मैं आपको request करता हूँ कि आप सबको दीजिए और let's come up with a capacity. So that capacity which we found out in that meeting, वो तो आप भी थे, हितल मेहता भी थे उसमें मीटिंग में, तो उसमें निकला कि 30 to 40 gigawatt. So वो जब float हुआ सबके बीच में, तो वो वहाँ से 30-40 और उसमें से adopt हुआ National Solar Mission, which was called the GNSM first, was 20 gigawatt. And we did not stop there. We immediately went and focused in 2-3 places, including one meeting in Gujarat, where I called Dr. DJ Pandyan. उस मीटिंग में 40 gigawatt की बात पक्की हो गई, 40 से 50 हो जाएगा. उससे 50 पे आ गए, फिर मैं 100 पे ले आया उनको. So this is how it was slow and steady. See how difficult to bring from 20 to this. Actually, the same mission. Then we named it RASM when we released in 2013 in Surat. उसको हमने कहा राष्ट्रीय ऊर्जा सौर्य मुहिम, ये नाम दिया था रस्म, और रस्म निभानी पड़ेगी, है ना. तो रस्म को हमने 1 लाख मेगावाट, which is 50 to 100 gigawatt की हमने बात की. 100 gigawatt by 2022 was a target.
ऑफ कोर्स वी डिडंट अचीव 100, पर आप देखो 50 तो अचीव हो गया, 70 पे आ गए, अभी 60 पे हम गए थे। अगर वो मेरी टारगेट को कहते 50 to 100 तो बच जाते, तो थोड़ा अभी क्या हुआ 100 बोल दिया पहले ही, पर उसके पीछे जो बैकअप नहीं हुई इसलिए 70 पे आया। बिकॉज वी कुड नॉट डू रूफटॉप्स, वी कुड नॉट डू इनफ फॉर द फार्म सेक्टर। हमारी दो जगह जो बैकड्रॉप या फॉल हुई वो फार्म सेक्टर की रूरल सोलर में हुई और रूफटॉप्स हुई, क्योंकि ये दो अगर हमारे आ जाते तो 40 गीगावाट हमारे बच जाते। तो इट्स नॉट अबाउट फेलियर्स, आई डोंट बिलीव इन फेलियर्स, आई बिलीव कि स्टेपिंग स्टोन टू सक्सेस है। आपने 70 कर लिया, अब आप सोचिए 200 कैसे करना है, 250 कैसे करना, तो एक एक स्टेप होता है। तो अनलेस वी ले टारगेट्स विल नेवर गो टुवर्ड्स देम, एंड इफ वी हैव शॉर्ट टारगेट्स, इफ यू डोंट रन 100 meters रेस in 10.5 seconds, we have no chance of winning a medal. I know, 500, बिल्कुल वो भी हमने ही डाला सर, 450 गीगावाट बाय 2027, वही तो रस्म का एक्सपेंशन था। नहीं, वो अभी बात कर रहे हैं, लेकिन 2027 टारगेट इज 450 गीगावाट, 450 गीगावाट, 400 हो गए तो बहुत बड़ी बात है। So this is the point. So that was also RUSM expansion, which we did in about 3 or 4 years back. So whatever we are saying, it will come true. That's, I can assure you that it's not about throwing some figures, but actually trying to do something. And let me tell you that that company, NTPC, you will be shocked. It's a public sector enterprise which is supporting us. It will become very big in renewable energy. Their focus is now, it's got all its assets in coal-based power plants, including technologically sound plants like supercritical, which consumes 50% less coal and all that. But their portfolio for solar itself, I would say, is not less than 20 gigawatt. So I will not be surprised if the total renewable portfolio goes to 40 gigawatt or something for NTPC itself. I will not be surprised at all. That's the kind of, so it's a public sector enterprise that is taking some lead over there. It's no more, see, we can say Adani's taken some lead, right? It says its portfolio goes to some 20 gigawatt worth of work, which will come quickly. The Tatas have done some level of work also. There are other 4 or 5 companies which are coming into the fray. Even the Reliance has now announced very big plan. The large companies will do. But it's important to also look at what the public sector does. They're not sitting there petty. I'll tell you, NHPC is not there today with this thing. But NHPC has also declared something like 7 to 10 gigawatt to add to their hydro portfolio. So you can be rest assured. I know, that's exactly the point. So aggressive moves are going on in the public sector enterprises, and I'm very thankful to this mood that has come. See, governments can make policy and all, but execution is very important. So if execution starts happening, we get the result. And that's what we are seeing India going through right now. We are coming in execution more slowly, steadily. We can say we missed some targets, we missed some buses, but now the things are different. I would now request, in the same hydro mode, I would like to continue with DP Goel Saab to give us the next view from his side.
Good evening. Well, all of us have witnessed the release of the book India, Middle East, Africa, Economics. Well, this is going to be the futuristic for especially you young people. You will ample of opportunities to work on various sustainable development goals. There are in fact 17 sustainable development goals outlined by the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development Goals. These are the goals which, once achieved, will put almost all the countries of the world on a very, I would say, the gross national happiness level, all the countries of the world. It needs a lot of efforts, money, efforts of all kinds to achieve these goals. Well, you people will have opportunities to work in India, Middle East, African countries especially. They need a lot of development activities which will come up in the immediate future, and this book is going to be a kind of encyclopedia for you people especially. One of the sustainable development goals is relating to, I'll discuss only about the renewable energy portfolio. Well, you might have heard that in renewable energy portfolio, apart from solar, wind, hydro energy also forms a part of it. But lately, because of the lake burst in Sikkim, you people might have seen on the TV, on the radio, in the papers, lot of controversies going on that hydro projects are the culprits and they should not be constructed anymore. Well, that is not the actual situation. Hydro projects are not the culprits. Hydro projects are affected by any lake burst, and hydro projects and environment, we are in fact friends with each other. We are not the enemies of each other. We want to develop the hydroelectric projects, taking into consideration all the requirements of the sustainable development from the environmental considerations. If the lake at a much higher elevation bursts, no, this is not because of hydro project development. This is because of other phenomena, and one has to see in totality why this has happened, why the climate change is happening. We cannot put blame in an easy way on one particular development areas. I would say that the lake burst in Sikkim has affected most seriously the Tista 3 project, 1200 megawatt, the second largest hydroelectric project of the country under operation. It is out of operation. It's not dead according to me. It can be revived, and it can be revived meeting all the environmental considerations. We can have overflow spillway on the dam body itself. We in fact experienced already in 2013 when there was a cloud burst in the Kedarnath area in Uttarakhand. I was working in JP company at that point of time. I was the project manager of 400 megawatt Vishnupurag hydroelectric project. The barrage got buried under the huge debris, boulders. People thought that this is the end of the project. It was in the month of June 2013. I can send you the pictures. When you look at those pictures, your first impression would be the project is lost for all the times to come. But in June 2013 it happened. We started working on it. We cleared the area. We made an overflow ungated spillway on the left bank, and the project was revived in April 2014 in 10 months. And the project from April 2014 is working and generating 440 megawatt when water is available till today. So it's not the end of the world. Tista 3 is not end of the project according to me. It can be revived, and all hydroelectric projects, are definitely constructed with due consideration to the environment. So I would like to mention to the young people that hydroelectric projects and environment, we are friends to each other. We are not the enemies of each other. So if somebody says hydroelectric project has caused the lake outburst, well, it's not agreed to be. It should not be agreed by all of us. And as I said, that this India, Middle East, Africa corridor is going to be economic development corridor for you people. I can only wish you all the best. You'll have opportunities to work in India, in the Middle East, and in Africa. Thank you.
So Goel Saab has summated, and in fact, huge hydro potential exists across this belt. Especially, I tell you, some of the biggest dams, if Afghanistan was still, a territory where India was dealing with, we were building one of the biggest hydro dams over there. So unfortunately, currently the engagement is not at that level. But I am very sure that it'll come back to us. All this development, even in the Middle East, will come back to us. It will just take a little time, because abhi wo aur skirmish hogi, वहाँ यूक्रेन चल रहा था, अब ये भी हो गया. So these are things which actually delays things by about a year or so. It will go back. But I think all of them will get census. क्योंकि हुआ क्या, because of Ukraine war, you saw energy prices going up in European Union. Food security has been affected. So अगर आप economic angle से चलना शुरू करें, आधी से ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम जो पॉलिटिक्स की है वो ख़त्म हो जाती है.
So basically, people have to think how much we lose in this kind of a, situation. Right now, entire Middle East is affected because of just a situation that is developed inside the Palestinian and the Gaza Strip and all that. So everybody is engaged. और वो मैंने आपको कहा कि सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी है ये IMEA में सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी 5 ट्रिलियन की वो है तो ये तो हम लोगों को पिच देनी पड़ेगी ना. So this forum will now tell the pitch. So that end of the war will happen only when आप पीस और डायरेक्शन की बात करें. ठीक है, हम कहें कि यार ये इतना बड़ा नुकसान हो जाएगा. You think it will be only Middle East नुकसान? It will be world order that will suffer. It will be the Japanese will suffer, the Koreans will suffer, the Americans will suffer, everybody will suffer. So when will we realize this? It's so foolish that we will even allow this. So I think India's role is very big. Public role is very big. Government's role is important. We are here to stop, not to proceed with this. For us, everybody is important. Human life is very important. Economy is very important. ये भी एक एंगल है. मैंने थोड़ी सोचा था कि मैं किताब कर रहा हूँ ये लड़ाई हो जाएगी. So I was planning 1 year back the book. So it just happened and we didn't stop, right? We released the book. So you see what is peace, right? So this is a forum of peace. You agree? All of you, right? So let me get our next speaker. May I get KK Gupta? Then I will go to Inderdeep and Hetal. That's the way it will be. And Prashant will close it.
Good evening, friends. First of all, my heartiest congratulations to Professor Iyer Sahab for this wonderful publication. I understand that you are yet to have the feel of the book unless it has come in your hands. But I would like to just share with you the kind of the variety of topics and the subjects which are included in the book. Dear students, hope you are all aligned with us because it has been a long time and you must be looking at your watch to see that when it stops and we go home. So that's good to hear. But let us take advantage of the time that we are spending together. You see, the book covers, the natural, renewable energy and sustainable green infrastructure. It talks about gross national harmony and happiness. It talks about organic farming. It talks about biofuels. It talks about hydrogen economy and also about the PPP and project grants on the financial modeling. You see, you see the extent of coverage that the book has and the vision that Professor Iyer has and he has been able to bring out in his book. And this is the vision and the food for thought for all of us. And to my mind, it comes that this book has been probably written looking you as the immediate beneficiary. Now it is for us to take it forward. You may be having, all of us are management students, but our prime interest may be in different areas. Somebody is in energy, somebody is in the investment sector, or the agriculture, or the biofuels, or the happiness, or for that matter, different areas. Now, we have to take out the subject which is of interest to us and then grow with that. This is, to my mind, is a concept paper and we need to develop it and see that we are able to realize going forward. You will have many opportunities to work on these topics through your project reports, through your interaction with your guides, professors, and all of us are available to interact with you at any time at your convenience. You have to take the lead and get connected with all of us in the areas that is of interest to you. No? And it is already rightly brought out that the areas like networking and the businesses potential that these areas have for us, probably we need to exploit. And we should not just say that it is just one another book. I think this is the future for all of us, and the caption that is very appropriately put here is that 60% of the RPO, Renewable Portfolio Obligation, will be the prime mover. for this exercise. And the very beautiful definition given by Professor Iyer is, we normally, when we talk about renewable, we talk about renewable energy. But it is a very limited understanding of the renewables. It is the sustainability part of it that makes it renewable. All right? So let us move from here. And I think this has been a wonderful time that we spent all together, having this book, precious book in hand among all of us. Thank you very much and wish you good luck.
So what he reminded, thanks to, Gupta Sahab, again he brought us to what I said earlier, that is renewability. So we need to go towards renewability. And literally the creator of this word and everything, I tell you, it's not only me, it's all of us together here. So it has to go like a movement. We move towards renewability and sustainability. So it is also to be the mission objective from NDIM at REPA NDIM Center of Excellence, the sustainability goals. So sustainability can only come when we think of renewability. That is, whatever we are using should be replenishable. Very simple task, right? With this, I request Inderdeep to please come over and give his wisdom to us. 2 pieces of wisdom, please.
Yes, very good evening, namaste to all of you, good friends. Yeah, thank you, Professor Iyer, for giving an opportunity to interact with our future generation and passing on small messages of what we call wisdom you might be having already in you. I've got 2 points to make. First of all, congratulations to you that NDIM is associated with REPA and you're doing a wonderful job, Professor Iyer, actually taking these kids forward towards the sustainability goals, understanding what is SDG all about. That's very important. And for you, what's important is you are an MBA students, or this field you are in. Important is 2 aspects. First of all is you have to have a community engagement. That's very important. What is SDG? What is sustainable development? Out of this room, if you are able to propagate toward, let's say, I'll give an example. I was with the DG BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, Dr. Tiwari. And he said, standards के ऊपर हमने BIS बना लिया और बहुत अच्छे standards की बात कर रहे हैं, IER standards बना रहे हैं. But people down the line do not know what is standards all about. Now they are going with Manak Mitra. And they are using Manak camps, which are they are educating students in schools. They have enlisted government schools. They are teaching standards about them. And they are going to Gram Panchayats. You see? So, infiltrating into these opaque parameters, that's very important for all of you. So, that's important. I'm representing Institute of Engineers India. It's the largest body of engineers. What's important for us is that we are a bridge between academia and industry. आज आप लोग यहाँ पर classroom में कुछ सीखते हो. These kind of forums are good for you to interact with industry, understand what the industry wants, what is the pathway. Now this book itself, all the stalwarts have been speaking about this. This is a pathway, a future road to really align your thinking towards the goal of India, where we can take this. So what's important is community engagement. You have to engage yourself more proficiently with the industry and go ahead with it. Secondly, I would take this opportunity to have a tie-up with NDIM, REPA and Institute of Engineers India, wherein we can use our resources in various universities. Like we have our own student chapters in various universities like Manav Rachna, Lingyas Vidyapeeth, we've got North Cap University, we've got large base of universities with us. Why can't we have this exchange information? We've got wonderful students here, wonderful people here who have gained your knowledge. So I think we can have that kind of this. Second thing, what I want, this forum, I and Professor Iyer have been schoolmates and been NITs together. What is important is networking. That was the word. You see, you people are together for, let's say, 2 years, 3 years batch. Once you spread out, you should have an alumni, a kind of a bonding so that you can pick each other up. use your resources and take care of that. So that's very important. So that's why you see, I and Professor Iyer are example. You see, we are doing that. He has called me into this forum. We are trying to assist, and we together will work on that. So that's important. Networking is important. Community engagement is important. So I'd like you to congratulate all of you to being here and in present of these stalwarts, listening, and all the best for your future. Thank you.
May I request Hetal to take over quickly?
गुड इवनिंग। आप में से कितने लोग को बिजनेस करना है? वेरी गुड। सो बिजनेस के लिए क्या चाहिए? वर्ल्ड के जितने भी बड़े बिजनेस है ना, वो कभी उसने खुद का पैसा नहीं लगाया है, वो समझ लो। कभी किसी ने खुद का पैसा नहीं लगाया है, ओनली माइंडसेट्स। और जो आगे कुछ बात हुआ उसमें बहुत सारी बात हुई। इंडिया हैज़ अ रिच इन ह्यूमन कैपिटल्स, बट सबसे रिच है हम लोग इंटेलेक्चुअल में है। तो हम वो इंटेलेक्चुअल दुनिया के सामने कैसे ले आए और कैसे हम उनके ऊपर राज करें, ये फोरम में शायद प्रोफेसर कैन टेल इन द बेटर वे। क्योंकि देखो उनका स्ट्रगल मैंने देखा हूँ, 2007 से मैं देख रहा हूँ उनको हर बुक में। मतलब आज उनका क्या टॉपिक है, ये बुक के हिसाब से $40 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी थ्रू दिस पैसेज। मुद्दा क्या है? ग्रीन एनर्जी, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी। अब दुनिया में आपको ये पता होगा कि सबसे बड़ा बिजनेस कैसे होता है, विच वर्ड दे आर यूजिंग फॉर द बिजनेस, बहुत ज़रूरी है। लेकिन क्या वर्ड है प्रोफेसर? यू कैन टेल। द वर्ड इज क्लाइमेट चेंज। क्लाइमेट चेंज के नाम पे आप चाहो इतना बड़ा बिजनेस कर सकते हैं इन रियल टर्म्स ऑफ सेंस। मैं एक एग्जांपल दे सकता हूँ आपको। जस्ट 10 days बैक आई वॉज इन ताइवान। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ जापान मीन्स एशियन प्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑर्गेनाइज वन ग्रीन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग समिट इन ताइवान। स्टडी मिशन था वो, और 28 लोगों को पूरा एशिया से इन्वाइट किया गया था, 15 देशों में से। अब वी वर सरप्राइजिंग कि वो जो यहाँ SDG की हम बात कर रहे हैं ना, वो SDG के नाम पे ही वो लोग बिजनेस कर रहे हैं। हर कंपनी के प्लेटफॉर्म ऊपर लिखा है कि वी आर फॉलोइंग SDG 6, वी आर फॉलोइंग SDG 7, वी आर फॉलोइंग SDG 12। एवरी कंपनी, और ऑलमोस्ट आई कैन से वी विजिटेड 7 to 8 कंपनीज, दे आर हैविंग द ग्रीन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सर्टिफिकेट। What is green manufacturing now? You have to go with the green energy. That is the first condition. Reuse, recycle, that is all the conditions. So ultimately sustainability, climate change, green manufacturing, green energy, these all words are there. And what we see there, almost Taiwan is very small country, right? But there are almost, I can say, 40 to 42 company has a green manufacturing certificate, which India doesn't have as on today. We do not have. और वो business कैसे करते हैं? They are investing in certifications and all this, and then the business people will come, oh, your product is green. Yes, we should go. This is the marketing point for them. So when we talk green energy, when we talk about green manufacturing, when we talk about sustainability, these all are important when you are going in the business. Rest of you are not going in the business, but you will be doing something, some job or something. There also this point has to be very important. So what you will take from this summit or from this book release is very, very important for all of you. Many people, all the stalwarts are here. Everybody has told their experience. But ultimately, the India has to be ruled by you people. You are the next generation. I'll give you one more example. When I was in Taiwan, 15 countries were there. लेकिन मैं जहाँ जिनसे भी बात करी, इवन इंडोनेशिया was telling, oh, India is very poor. We are far ahead than India. Philippines, they say, oh, we are far ahead than India. India is not yet there. Reason? These all countries were dominated by China. And propaganda is going on there very well. Even here, what we are talking, Africa, many countries are ruled by China. So here we have to be careful when we want to do the business. 40 trillion, professor is telling, I can say it can go up to 100 trillion also, provided we are proactive and we use our brain, how we can defeat China in this mode. So if we are coming on one platform and we are doing progressively business, I think it's not impossible 40 trillion or 60 trillion or 100 trillion. But yes, when we are going for the business, we have to think on that line. I'll give you one more example, or otherwise in different way. When very small country, Cambodia was there. Representative of Cambodia was also there. They says in green energy, we are far ahead than India. We don't believe. How can we say? But yes, they have shown the facts and figures there. So, what is green? What is sustainability? What is, you can say, green energy, renewable energy? I can only say, see, we have increased the price of water, pure water, by first contaminating it. Similarly, we increase the price of organic food by messing the natural process. Similarly, now we are paying for the clean air because we are polluting it. But yes, Mother Nature never caused the inflation. Who? We do. So we have to take care for that. Can we take care? Yes. Thank you very much.
Everybody has spoken, more or less. Everybody is through. I think we must hear Prashant also. He's trying to tell me question answer शुरू करते हैं. ठीक नहीं है ना? With your permission, students, we'll give our last speaker. नहीं पहले आप थोड़ा बोलिए. करिए कोई बात नहीं.
Good evening, everyone. I must thanks to Professor, and I must thanks to all of you for giving me opportunity to be present on this occasion of book release of Professor. So everybody has spoken already everything about the subject matter. I can only facilitate Professor Sir. That's needed. Please stand. This is known as the Kamusha of Northeast, and we give it to our guest or a person to honor him. So I am honoring Professor Iyer.
One this side out. Okay. Camera is this side out. Good, right? Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Part
very much.
is honor. Good, right. Thank you.
So his love from the Northeast, because I have a very special heart for Northeast people, and it is from the beginning, from my college days, it has been like that. And I think that the wealth of India lies over there. You know, the East also has to come up, but Northeast is amazing. In terms of infrastructure, it should grow. In terms of economy, it should grow. And it could really propel India to a different dimension. As I told you, a small country near us, Bhutan, right, is doing wonders. If we can India can just have a twist in the tail, like we start pushing the whole economy towards exploitation of the entire 45 gigawatt and promise Bhutan that we are purchasing everything if you cannot sell. I can tell you they will be the richest economy of South Asia with per capita income which you cannot imagine. Even Singapore will not stand a chance. So I do not know how we go forward, because there is not much issues of displacement because of low population, 7.5 lakh people over there, and with minimum 5 borders with India. So if that is possible, Arunachal is going to be terrific. It is going to be, Assam is terrific. You know, you cannot imagine what Northeast can do to us.
And I think, over a period of time with friends like them together, if we can change that direction, it's going to be amazing. Like Hetal did not tell you, but he is a special advisor to a concept called the Borderland Territory Region. It is early days, but it's like an example of economy, a microeconomy within a state, right? Because they were asking for a separate state at the time. But uski jagah kya hua? Bodos are quite rich, as I can understand from him. They're quite rich and they are very culturally very rich also, and they are fantastic people. So now if they feel that alienated, that alienation has to go. So once these alienations go, you unleash people, you unleash gross national happiness, you go towards harmony, you go to progress, you go towards development. So India is a very diverse. I say India is a world within a world, my friends. So you are living in a world within a world, so you have to accept everything. Now I open to the students. Now all of you have spent time. All these people are there. मैं तो आपको मिलता रहूँगा, लेकिन address the questions to any of them, and any question you wish to raise, I am open here. Please feel free, क्योंकि ऐसा मौका नहीं मिलेगा. And let's get one mic to them. Yes, sir. Where is the hand? First hand. Whoever wants to, कुछ भी मन में है. You don't, even if it's disconnected subject, please ask.
Good evening, sir. Sir, my question is from Baba, sir. Sir, you talked about AI in the start. So how do you envision the transformative potential of AI, not only in addressing current sustainability challenges, but also in proactively identifying emerging issues to ensure more sustainable future?
Hello? Yes, right. I am audible. You said how the AI, just repeat your question. How is the AI?
How will AI not only address the potential future of current sustainability, but also will address the problems?
Right. AI is meant to address the problems only, right? Wherever we are stuck, only then we will look for solutions. Whatever you can do, you will always continue to do that, right? And whenever you stuck anything, right now, what for AI is popular? AI is popular as a chat GPT, right? Who is using chat GPT? The man who cannot write himself. The man who can write, he doesn't know what is chat GPT, right? Or the people who want to be ahead of others. He wants to write an article in 2 days. He said, no, I want to write in half an hour. He uses ChatGPT. But then ChatGPT immediately is copyable. The moment you send it to someone, he says, okay. First of all, the moment you know that you've done it overnight, the man thinks that it must have been copied from somewhere. Because if you are not consumed 9 months to deliver a baby, it means it's not yours. It has come from somewhere from the heaven. So like that, you must always believe where ChatGPT is to be used. You rightly said it is meant to be solve the problem. If you are really in a problem, you will look for solutions, you will look for tools, and AI is meant for problem solving. Now coming to what kind of problem solving, right? ChatGPT is one simple solution. Why? Because it affects the masses and it sells very fast. But then artificial intelligence being used in a very high-tech areas, right? Maintenance of equipment, serviceability of equipment, or even managing of pilotless flights. How we are able to send the Chandrayaan up, 50% is AI being deployed there. And you always remember whatever is technology is given to you, it is already a consumed technology which comes to the market. First technology is to be developed, R&D cost is to be recovered, and that is recovered from the defense applications or high-tech applications. So it has already been consumed and then it comes to the market, right? So AI is there to solve any problem you think. You have to think, first of all, you exhaust your all capabilities. Once you think that you cannot do now and no one in your group can do, then together you say, now how we can bring the technology, then AI is there, right? And then if you, I am sure that your institution must be giving you all exposure, but you must do an extra mile. You must go abroad to see the kind of robotics they have already developed, the kind of AI tools they have already developed. And once you got a vision, it will inspire you to do an extra mile or to go behind that, right? So that's what I think AI is meant for, problem solving only, right? Thank you.
Next question.
Hello everyone. My question is ki why don't government make it compulsory for all the public institutions to run on sustainable energy? Because change begins at home.
Absolutely. So, anybody, or I will answer this. Okay, see, I tell you, government needs a lot of money. Like I tell you, for the SDG itself, for this SDG, I'll tell you. Yeah, but I'll tell you the figures, which is in the books itself. You will read it. Currently, the world is deploying. World is 105 trillion now. All 200 countries put together produce about 105 trillion of world order. Of the 105 trillion, what is going towards renewable and SDGs together? Because it's all green development I'm putting, not only renewable energy. So the amount that we have spent last year per annum is just 630 billion, my friends. So this is nothing. What do we require is 10% of 105 billion, 10 trillion plus. And that figure has appeared, in my, to expand renewable energy and SDG-based climate action, investments up to 10 trillion. So this is the challenge. They have spoken in the G20 also only 4.5 trillion. So I am pushing the envelope. Why I'm pushing the envelope? Because the world leaders must commit, right? So it's not about only India. India is doing its bit. There are 200 of those countries, and at least if G20 is taken, now the African Union is joined the G20, which you know very well. And one of my chapters on why it is not important that India, Middle East, and European countries only have to work, but we have to go towards the place where we need sustainability quickly because they have not spoiled. Africa is only generating 4% of the global greenhouse gases. India alone generates about 7%. And we are said to be the top. Hum nahi hai top. Top are US and China, if you look at it that way, right? So we have to invest upfront because हमने अभी खराब नहीं किया सारा मामला, ठीक है ना? तो हमारे पास मौका है. We have the chance. So this, you're saying government makes, mandatory.
For public institutions.
No, they've already done it. I'm telling you there is a thing, but nobody, suppose you don't have the money. Suppose those institutions don't have the money. They're struggling, let's say, even within the PSUs, these are all leading PSUs. But there are 100 odd PSUs which are not doing well, right? I don't want to name, but I'm saying it's being thought about कि इसका क्या करना है, right? Private companies को तो ठीक है, NCLT और IBC code में जाके somebody else will own it or it will change, right? And you can do something with it. But what do you do with the PSUs? So every time there will be a budget, right? To revive or do something, but it can't be every time. There will be an end to that, right? So the challenge is if they don't have the budgets, how do you implement on them something कि भाई mandatory तुम्हें करना है? Budget कहाँ से आएगा? या तो उसकी provision budget में, union budget में होनी चाहिए, जो अभी deficit पे आज भी चल रही है. We are deficit funding. ठीक है, many people will say we have a lot of money. A lot of money for what? We will first take care of the people. So this is our challenge, Do we spend on environmental issues and this, or do we give them the dal roti? Roti kapda makan. So ये challenge तो रहेगा, है ना? तो इसलिए next 10 years, I'm a practicalist. Next 10 years we'll still see coal-based power plants coming up. But 10 साल बाद तो कम ही होगा ना? Somewhere it has to stop ना? और वो आज से हम सोच रहे हैं ना? So that's why companies like NTPCs are going in a big way to renewable energy. So it has to come through a concerted action. It can't be left to government alone. Is not responsible for all the investment. So I'm telling you, I'm working on $15 billion of investment globally where countries, private institutions are involved. Today, I'm working on a portfolio of $15 billion. If I tell you, it will be looking odd. This professor, one of her, is talking about $15 billion. But this money has to come, provided those people qualify. अगर वो qualify नहीं करते, पैसा नहीं मिलेगा. There's a lot of ifs and buts in this. SDG funds are not easy. You have to qualify. So I hope I have answered.
Sir, I have one question more. Sir, our road and transport minister, Nitin Gadkari ji, has said that I want to eliminate the whole petrol and diesel car from India, but a lot of VAT is generated from the petrol and the government will face a huge loss, and the companies that are spending a lot on petroleum and that will also not easily able to allow to do that. So how will government face that challenge?
Okay, I'll tell you. Exactly a counter rise there only. Are we not going towards CNG? रोज सीएनजी गाड़ियों की ऐड आ रही है, आप सीएनजी वापर रहे हैं ना, सीएनजी किससे वापर रहे हैं? हाउ डू मेक सीएनजी? यू हैव टू इंपोर्ट नेचुरल गैस, राइट? उसका बिल कम हो रहा है, इट्स प्राइसेस हैव बीन एक्सपैंडिंग लाइक एनीथिंग, राइट? योर इंपोर्ट बिल इज राइजिंग, योर फॉरेन एक्सचेंज इज गोइंग टुवर्ड्स दैट. We have 600 billion, I am telling you 200 billion will be needed to commit to energy reserves. Are we in a position to do that? So quickly, the sooner we go to the model of CBG, compressed biogas, that is generating CNG from biosources, this whole thing will be offset in no time. So this is an example, and then that CNG and the CBG has no difference. The calorific value of bio-CNG is better than conventional CNG. Second thing is it is bio, right? It is coming from farm waste, agro waste, and also can come from municipal waste. So you realize what's happening, and we are generating automatically circular economy. So there has to be, it takes time. जैसे इन्होंने कहा कि सोलर हमने 2005 में बात की, उसके बाद 2009 में सैंक्शन किया, अब हो रहा है, ठीक है? हर चीज़ को टाइम लगता है. So you got my answer, right? It is right there. You're filling those. You may not know whether you're filling in places. Future में अगर गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी हो, they don't differentiate between CBG एंड CNG, आपको बिजली मिलती है, आपको पता चलता है आपके घर में सोलर आई कि विंड आया, आप तो बिजली का पैसा दे रहे ना. तो यू आर एग्नोस्टिक टू, यू से आई वांट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, आई वांट 24/7, आई वांट क्वालिटी. आपको वोल्टेज मैक्सिमम, अगर आप थोड़े इंटेलिजेंट होंगे, वोल्टेज और एम्पेरेज के बारे में बात करेंगे, यहाँ तक जा सकते हैं आप. अदरवाइज हाउ डू यू नो रिन्यूएबल इज कमिंग टू यू टिल द गवर्नमेंट हैज अ पॉलिसी स्ट्रक्चर एंड ऑल दैट, राइट? सेम वे व्हेन यू बाइंग CNG, in that moment you will not know whether you are buying a bio CNG or normal CNG. This has happened in some way. We fought for injecting the gas. Tyaga was there. We went all the way to Varna because they had a gas pipeline of GAIL nearby. Inject नहीं हो रही थी. अब इन्होंने वो कर दिया, गैस ग्रिड की इंजेक्शन अलाउ कर दी है. The allowance for injecting the CBG, that is compressed biogas, into the gas grid. अब वो गैस ग्रिड में चली गई तो वो क्या CNG और क्या bio CNG, उसमें तो जितनी परसेंटेज बढ़ती है कि दोनों बिकेंगी ना. So this is the next phase because it will be made. This is a classic example. And do they not earn taxes in selling CNG?
But sir, the prices of petrol and CNG is getting close. So why?
Because why they want to do that, I'll tell you. Because they want to get the CNG to sell. They don't want to lose the revenue, as you rightly said. The third point will be that whether we want to sell a high price, हमारा वो option है कि हम इसको एकदम कम कर दें और CNG को हम सस्ता बना दें, जिससे कि बायो CNG और CNG की प्राइसेस मैच करें. तो शिफ्ट होगा, वो शिफ्ट होगा अगर कार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, क्योंकि सबसे बड़ी लॉबी कार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की है, वो जब तक CNG और हाइब्रिड व्हीकल्स और इनकी तरफ नहीं जाएगी तब तक कुछ नहीं होगा. इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में क्या होगा, एक या दो कार्स मिलेंगे. अभी भी आप देखो, आई डोंट थिंक महिंद्रा इज नॉट इवन अ सिंगल व्हीकल. द ओनली थिंग दे स्टार्टेड इज एन ऑटो रिक्शा, विच इज़ अ ब्रिलियंट आइडिया फॉर देम, क्योंकि उस एरिया में 3 साल में ऑटो रिक्शा आप मतलब यू कैन डू अवे विद इट बिकॉज दैट मच कॉमर्स इज देयर. सो दे स्टार्टेड ट्रियो, दे हैव स्टिल नॉट मेड एन and they stop manufacturing.
Sir, they have.
No, they don't have. अरे यार हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं खरीदने की, आप बात कर रहे हैं.
Mahindra 300.
अरे नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, वो चलेगी नहीं. वो उसमें टाटा बहुत आगे है, टियागो. वी नो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. आपको बता रहा हूँ, और मैं ये भी बता रहा हूँ आप कोल ही कंज्यूम करेंगे, ये भी बता दिया मैंने आपको. अरिथमेटिकली वो मीन है, ये क्या मार्केटिंग है. सो इट इज़ अबाउट CBG अगर वॉल्यूम अवेलेबल होगी ऑटोमेटिक शिफ्ट हो जाएगा, और ये होना है. इट्स ओनली अ मैटर ऑफ टाइम. एंड यू सी हाउ द CNG व्हीकल्स आर. Exactly. And you will realize, I'm talking $200 billion. How much tax will collect? How many crores? 1 lakh crore? 2 lakh crore? हम बात कर रहे हैं $200 billion की. यार आप सोचो मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ. थोड़ी तो समझ होनी चाहिए ना कि हमारे साथ क्या हो रहा है.
आपका सवाल हाइड्रोजन के ऊपर पहला, बरोबर? यू आस्क्ड फॉर द हाइड्रोजन. हाइड्रोजन की जो बात कर रहे हैं ना, हाइड्रोजन इज द फ्यूचर. बट जब तक ऑयल लॉबी जिंदा है तब तक हाइड्रोजन नहीं आएगा.
Now you heard that.
I will give you the example. You can Google it anytime. The inventor of hydrogen car is Mike Strisky in USA.
Whom he met?
I met him. I stayed with him. He is having 27 patent for hydrogens, and he has been poisoned 2 times by oil lobby.
In the US.
In the US. 2012 में हम हाइड्रोजन टेक्नोलॉजी इंडिया लेके आए. वी मेट एट दैट टाइम मोदी साहब, ही वाज अ CM ऑफ गुजरात, बट ही कुडंट डू एनीथिंग. ही वांट्स टू कम इन इंडिया एंड इन्वेस्ट बिकॉज ही वांट अ पॉलिटिकल सिक्योरिटी जो US में उसको नहीं मिल रही थी. बट इवन वी कुडंट डू एट दैट टाइम ऑल्सो. तो जब तक ऑयल लॉबी ये वर्ल्ड में जिंदा है तब तक हाइड्रोजन बातें करेंगे हम, आने में बहुत टाइम लगेगा.
Right, sir. Right.
The oil industry did not allow.
Right.
I mean, now we are talking after 23 years.
Yes,
fuel cell.
exactly 23 years now. That's what I'm trying to explain to the young man. See, what's happening in our countries, we are not governed by there's no lobby here, not that kind. This will shift tomorrow. अगर IOCL और इनको बोल दिया जाए कि आपको रिन्यूएबल बड़े स्केल में डेवलप करना है तो करेंगे नहीं क्या वो? उन्हें तो एक दिन का काम है, 2 दिन का काम है पॉलिसी में. It is the global lobby that is sitting there. The moment you stop importing, their business goes. आप इसको समझो पहले कि ग्लोबल लॉबी तो चाहेगी नहीं ये होता रहे. अब बताइए वो किसको फायदा हुआ यूक्रेन वॉर से? उसी ऑयल लॉबी को फायदा हुआ है, उसी एनर्जी लॉबी को फायदा हुआ है.
सर जितनी भी लड़ाई हुई है बिकॉज ऑफ ऑयल ही हुई है. आप चाहे इराक या अमेरिका देखो, या इराक या ईरान देखो, या अभी यूक्रेन या रसिया देखो, या अभी जो हो रहा है वो देख लो, इट इज़ बिकॉज ऑफ ऑयल ओनली. तो जब तक वो लॉबी जिंदा है हम ये सब बातें करेंगे, R&D करेंगे, लेकिन अभी हम आगे बढ़ ही नहीं पाएंगे, समझो. और अगेन फ्यूल सेल टेक्नोलॉजी की आप बात कर रहे हैं तो वो अभी बहुत दूर है अपने लिए. अगर हम करना चाहे तो डायरेक्ट हाइड्रोजन फायर इंजन डेवलप करके हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. एंड दैट इंडिया इज ऑलरेडी डेवलप्ड. आपको पता नहीं होगा, हाइड्रोजन सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया हैज वर्कड ऑन दैट, बट वो आ नहीं पा रहा है क्योंकि ऑयल लॉबी हमको अलाउ नहीं कर रही है.
नहीं, इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ टाइम. आई एम टेलिंग यू 5 years और लगेंगे टुवर्ड्स द हाइड्रोजन साइड. बट उसके पहले जो मैं कह रहा हूँ, जो नहीं, मैं लो हैंगिंग फ्रूट की बात कर रहा हूँ सर. CBG इज देयर इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस. देखिए CBG रूट टू हाइड्रोजन है, ध्यान रखिएगा. CH4 जो एटम होता है उसमें एक कार्बन एटम होता है और 4 हाइड्रोजन एटम है. उसको स्प्लिट करना ज़्यादा आसान है, सिंपल. दिस इज ऑल रिटन इन माई बुक. यू विल गेट अ कॉपी. आई विल पुट समथिंग इन द लाइब्रेरी सो दैट कम से कम 4-5 किताबें आप लोगों के बीच में हो जाएं, और डिजिटली भी इफ आई कैन मेक इट अवेलेबल, बिकॉज होल थिंग इज द कॉपीराइट इशू. ओके, गुड.
सॉफ्ट कॉपी है,
तो सब लोगों को पढ़ना है, सब लोगों को पढ़ना है.
Good evening, sir. I am Nitika Babbar. Sir, my question is how business can effectively measure and communicate its impact on the SDGs to the stakeholders and the wider public?
Right. I think somebody else should answer. मेरा बहुत हो गया. Who's going to answer? Right, sir.
Well, one of the things I will directly, which I am involved into is the twin of carbon credit as well as subsidy measurement, validation and reporting. These two things together. And I told you the example of our continuous focus on bioorganic fertilizer. So we had a meeting on 16 July on this. Prior to that, the cabinet passed the 50% subsidy regime to the states. I told you to reduction of bioorganic chemical fertilizers. So to take the one example, this is one area where the action which is being taken is going into right direction. And a lot of things in rural and agriculture sector, including the intersectoral issues concerned with the transportation, logistic, and value chain, you can say, food value chain, they are also ingrained into it. So, but there is a big economy already which is out for the country, and the government policy is positively poised for grabbing it up. अभी मतलब ये है, इस टाइम भी possibilities are huge.
Yeah.
That's what I can say.
We are at the early cusp actually. We are the rising one. As Hetal told you some time back, that Taiwan and all these countries, they have been telling we are doing more. It's easy for a smaller country to quickly do more, right? For a large 1.5 billion economy, समय तो थोड़ा लगेगा.
So आपके अपने models जो evolve होते हैं homegrown, so you have to see it like we started it in 2007-8, and first model came in 2022, 15 years gestation.
Right.
And but soon the next one came to Bardoli, third one to Mathura, maybe a lot of them will come up in arithmetic progression in the times to come. So
Right.
at least in the rural agro sector, I want to say. But there can be other opportunities.
Right. Your answer for the industry is, industry has to not do greenwashing. I told that greenwashing is very dangerous. Like you spoke about carbon credits. So I have a opposite point to credits. The credits are only limited. They are going from one person to another. Suppose I'm a polluter. I produce 90% of my stuff is going carbon related. तो मेरे को क्या है, आसान काम है, मैं इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ना बनाऊँ, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के प्रोजेक्ट ना बनाऊँ, मैं जाके मार्केट से कार्बन क्रेडिट उठा लूँ. वो मेरा क्या हुआ, केपेक्स चला गया, मैंने कार्बन क्रेडिट रख ली और जब मुझे चाहिए मैं वापस उसको ट्रेड कर दूँ. सो आई डोंट बिलीव इन दिस कार्बन क्रेडिट मॉडल इन अ बिग वे. इट्स अ टेम्पररी स्टेप, बट देयर आर चैलेंजेस समटाइम्स सम कंपनीज हैव टू डू, क्योंकि कंप्लायंस इशू आ जाएगी, डंडा पड़ जाएगा, तो मेरे को अभी करना पड़ेगा. तो फिर मैं कैसे लॉन्ग टर्म में मैं पोल्यूटर कैसे ना बनूँ? टिल वी अडॉप्ट retrofitting of infrastructure for renewables, our organization, that's why I told about the hotel industry. The hotel industry came forward, I was stunned. 5 big hoteliers in Mumbai said they are using renewable in a substantial way. And they are doing processing of all their waste. What do? They convert the waste into biomaterial. They use it for their garden and greenery and everything. So I was astounded that so much work is being done by the hotel industry, hospitality trade. और उसका कारण क्या था? Not for कि उनको कोई मजा है करने के लिए. They did it because it became a business case. उसमें profit आया उनको. बिजली बची. You know, like their electricity bill came down to half. So एक business case के कारण SDG हो रहा है, not the other way around. I hope I've given you the answer.
I just wanted to ask, what is the intent of your question? What is in your mind when you ask this question?
Sir, I attended yesterday the lecture of Professor Iyer. He discussed about the carbon credits. So I was curious to know that how companies measure their carbon emission pollutant or what.
Right.
So
Your intent is only on technology, how they are measuring.
Yes, sir.
And
How it is measured.
There is no concern that whether we are only working for the environment and we are losing
No,
on the
sir,
business.
it is interlinked.
Yes, right. It is interlinked,
Exactly.
right? So we keep on working for the environment, we are losing on the business, right? You take example from the aviation industry, right? There were some people who were thinking that aircrafts are polluting, and they banned the operation of aircraft in their country by the name of night curfew, and that's the reason you find the clutter of aircraft in the Indian sky in the early morning, because they cannot fly after 7 o'clock in the Europe, but they will have to land in the India in early morning. But now those same countries have started realizing that we are losing business on because of that, because other countries are making benefit of that. So now what they have started doing, they say you invest in aircraft so that pollute less. They have become noise less, so that we can allow you to permit. So that is the business will never lose. Only thing is you have to have a break-even point, how long you can tolerate. They have tolerated enough, but now they are feeling hungry. You say our people are not getting the job, others are getting the job. Why not? Because you are not permitting to fly in the evening, flight late night. So that's why your worries, you get rest, there is no loss, we will continue to progress, right? Thank you.
So much, sir.
Okay. One last question now.
Good evening, sir. So my question
You
is
want
that,
to ask? Okay.
sir, how can we promote the international cooperation and investment for the sustainability and specifically for the renewable energy, and what the corporates are already doing?
ये आंसर तो मैं अच्छे से कर सकता हूँ.
ये आपका ही field है.
See, basically, I tell you the problem with our industry in India is industry has never been pushed to the corner. They have been doing in भाई लाले की दुकान है, चलने दो. सारा का सारा प्रेशर PSUs पे था. पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइजेस, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसीज को इम्प्लीमेंट करना है उसने. ठीक है, चाहे वो पहले की गवर्नमेंट हो, अभी की गवर्नमेंट हो, वो मतलब नहीं. आई एम सेइंग इन जनरल गवर्नमेंट्स हैव बीन गोइंग टुवर्ड्स रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी. मतलब उनकी पिच तो ये है ना, हमको करना है, कितना करना है वो बात अलग है. सो देयर वाज अ डायरेक्शन. इंडस्ट्री को कौन डंडा देगा? Even with all policy constructs, it's difficult. So it came through a little bit came through the ESG modeling, where the SEBI, and even SEBI could only implement the whole thing कि 2023 हमारा टाइमलाइन हुआ, 21 को नहीं हुआ, 23 पहले 2012 में शुरू हुआ ये. ठीक है, तो अब आप 2023 में पहली रिपोर्टिंग करेंगे. सो अब बाहर निकले की चीज़ है. यू अंडरस्टैंड? सो द रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी अडॉप्शन विद इन द इंडस्ट्री इज अ बिजनेस केस फॉर मी. इट इज़ नथिंग टू डू विथ if we cannot push it this way, because there is a strategy. Isomorphous forces should work. मतलब the forces should impact you, right? Suppose there is a law that comes in India कि you declare how much renewable energy है, वो product पे declare करो.
तो क्या होगा, बायर क्या करेगा, मैं इस पे 2 रुपये एक्स्ट्रा दे दूंगा। अभी तो वो मानेगा नहीं, वो तो 2 रुपये की, अभी वो इन्फ्लेशन चल रहा है, जो तेल उसको मिल रहा था 160 रुपये में, हाँ तिल का तेल उसको बेचारी को, हाउस वाइफ को 400 रुपया लीटर मिल रहा है, वो तो 2-4 रुपये की बात नहीं करेगी ना। You have to find a method to integrate. So I think this brain will come from people like us. We are explaining कि you make buying the products incentivizable. So that company, how much it uses, how much green it uses, this is all going to come. अब आप 3-4 साल में ये देखोगे, अब वो ग्रीन सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं होगा, प्रोडक्ट पे होगा कि हाउ मच दिस प्रोडक्ट हैज कम, हाउ मच इज द रिन्यूएबिलिटी इन द प्रोडक्ट। वही तो मैंने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है वो। हाँ वो बिल्कुल, और वो हम आज इधर हमने वर्ड क्या यूज़ किया, मैंने रिन्यूएबिलिटी यूज़ की, सस्टेनेबिलिटी नहीं। इसको मैं सरकार को इसी चीज़ के लिए कर रहा हूँ कि हर चीज़ के पीछे भागो, क्योंकि ये डायनामिक होगा, रोज़ पॉलिसी बनाते रहोगे कैसे चलेगा। पहले फंडामेंटली यू हैव टू डिक्लेयर, जैसे अभी इंग्रेडिएंट्स डिक्लेयर करते हैं, तो क्या आप जो खा रहे हैं, पी रहे हैं, आप ले रहे हैं, कपड़ा ले रहे हैं, इसमें ग्रीन है कि नहीं है, ये आएगा अभी फ्यूचर में, तैयारी हो जाओ, ये हो रहा है। एनीबडी एल्स? यस,
थैंक यू सर।
देयर वर 2 क्वेश्चंस। या शी गोज फर्स्ट एंड देन यू कम, लेडीज फर्स्ट ना, थोड़ा चलेगा ना। We gents have to give to them.
Sirs. Good evening, everyone. So my doubt is related to the hydropower. That, as you all had said, that hydropower is a proven century-old tradition, and but in India, it is always been, there is always a clash between the hydropower incoming here, because it will be like affecting the life and traditions of the people. So, and since, as we all know, that the coal and all has actually overpowered the century-old tradition of hydropower, and now we are going back. So, since the scarcity of water has increased, and there is a tendency to increase in the future more, then how will we ensure that hydropower is a future for Indian business or SDGs? My doubt.
कौन सा? अच्छा, दोनों स्टाइलवर्ड्स हैं, दोनों आंसर करें।
This has been developed, and the water is coming from Uttarakhand to western part of UP to Delhi. Delhi from this Papankala near airport to Noida, Muradnagar, all these areas are being supplied drinking water only from the water of Tehri Dam.
You imagine what's happening.
You can understand the scope, the prosperity of western UP in terms of agricultural yield has gone up 4 times. This was the assessment of Husky Hyderabad, which they carried out. So this is the type of situation in this today's scenario, when there are so many scarce cities for water. Only hydropower development is the answer, where reservoirs systems are to be installed, either at the low scale or medium scale or large scale. So that has to be carried out. And I tell you the significant factor on 18th of April 2013, when catastrophe was there in Kedar Valley, the 8 crore population along the river channel of Bhagirathi could be saved only because of impoundment of that flooding water for certain period and releasing it slowly downwards by Tehri Dam. So that is the type of arrangement which saved this population up to Delhi. Rishikesh, Devprayag to Rishikesh to Haridwar to Muzaffarnagar and all these areas up to Delhi. This was the situation. So tremendous scope is there for hydropower, and as you know, because of the variety of problems which are related to variability, the difficulty in quantification, difficulty in telling the exactly the type of situation which will happen with solar or wind power. When we develop these resources and when generation takes place, there are very much differences. So actually only this hydropower is the battery reservoir to absorb the power or to supply the power in difficult times of scarcity or surplus.
So that being the position, hydropower is a proven technology, and the government is going ahead, full thrust is being given to this, and this will take place.
I'll give you one good figure for you, arithmetically for your level, क्योंकि आपको समझ आएगी, क्योंकि उसमें technical बहुत है. आपको बताता हूँ, today we have around 70 gigawatt of solar at this juncture when we are here in the room, and our wind is also about 45 gigawatt. तो 70 और 45 कितने हुए arithmetically?
150.
हाँ, अब आपको बता रहा हूँ ये ऑपरेशन में क्या हो रहा है. इसकी 25% भी नहीं आ रही है ऑन द ग्रिड. अब मैं आपको, दैट मीन्स it will behave like, let's say roughly about 35 odd gigawatt. That's what we are getting from this. And that too infirm, not continuous. It only replaces coal power. Because ये base load है, इनकी nature क्या है, ये flexible नहीं है. ये अपने समय पे आ जाएंगे, चले जाएंगे. सूरज आ जाएगा, वो दे के चला जाएगा. शाम को wind जैसे intermittent है, वो देगा, चला जाएगा. ठीक है. अब हाइड्रो का कमाल देखो, हमारे पास केवल 47 gigawatt है. Nothing to compare with around 400 gigawatt that China has. Because China does development, right? वो नहीं देखते आपका घर जा रहा है क्या जा रहा है. They can do. Here we have a democracy, so to go slowly. ठीक है, समझा के जाना पड़ता है. ठीक है. 47 gigawatt है. आपको पता है कितना ग्रिड में आ रहा है? 35 gigawatt. तो आपने केवल 47 gigawatt डेवलप किया, 35 इलेक्ट्रिसिटी में कन्वर्ट हुआ. वहाँ आपने 115 डाला, उसके बाद भी आप 35 नहीं निकाल पा रहे. वो भी इनफर्म है. तो you know the now these figures will explain to you the depth, because I go arithmetically. These are stalwarts, they will tell you about other things and other advantages, water resources, this, that. Even plain electricity pe jaye na, there is no electricity as renewable and as beautiful, as flexible as hydro. It's plug and play.
Yes, sir.
Kholo, band karo. You want to close the hydropower, they can do it. They can close the turbine, they can continue the project, nothing will happen to it.
Okay, so my main doubt was like, how will we convince the people, like,
it is a
how
slow
to
process.
accept
It's a slow,
it?
as I told you, it's इतने साल हो गए. देखिए भाखड़ा तो कब बना था?
Yes, sir.
फ्रीडम के टाइम पे. आज हमें उसकी बेनिफिट 7 स्टेटों में मिल रही है. अभी इन्होंने बताया खेती का इतना फायदा हुआ, दिल्ली का इतना फायदा हुआ.
Your question is the water availability and why hydro was slow.
नहीं, उनकी क्वेश्चन ये नहीं है सर. Her question is कि how will convince the people when we know this? She's talking about that.
Yes.
No, I think
नहीं, वो तो समझ में आ गई है उसको, रिहैबिलिटेशन. But main question, how do you convince the people? So anyway,
Okay, thank you, sir.
it is a wonderful, it can go on. अभी आप लोग भी इंटरेस्टेड हैं, दिख रहा है कम से कम 50% तो जो आए थे वो इंटरेस्टेड हैं अभी भी हैं इस डिस्कशन में. इसका मतलब इट्स अ बिग सक्सेस. गिव अ बिग हैंड टू योरसेल्फ.
One last, sir.
हाँ जी.
Question he was in.
Sure.
Let him take it. That
हाँ,
will,
उनका
then
नहीं
we
लिया था.
can end the session.
नहीं वो भूल गया मैं. Sorry. I apologize.
This is the last question from our side.
I missed you.
Sir, like how as students we can be sustainable? How can we add value to this? We are talking about others.
या बिल्कुल. नहीं देखिए, ये पर्पस ही इसको कंडक्ट करने का इधर, क्योंकि नॉर्मली क्या होता है कि these seminars and all, they go around and they will go in some like a exhibition operator. ये मैंने बंद कर दिया था इसको. मैं आपको अपनी इंटरनल बताता हूँ. These our people know it, but maybe you are new, so you do not know. So I started doing this in 2015. So I was trying to tell all the institutions around. Even we do some things in Mumbai and all, but I didn't find in management institution an interest or in the students an interest to change themselves. सारी दौड़ क्या थी, जॉब फाइंड करना है. ठीक है, बस इस पे लगे हुए थे. भाई जॉब तो तुझे मिल जाएगी, 5-6 साल बाद क्या करेगा? And I've taught at many institutions. I've taught at Balaji, I've taught at Symbiosis, I've taught at so many places. I was a star professor of international business. मैं करता रहता, मेरा काम होता रहता. That's when institution chair starts thinking about it. So बंसल साहब और हमारा वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग अच्छा हुआ. एंड यहाँ स्टूडेंट्स उस तरह के मिले जो इंटरेस्टेड थे. भले वो नंबर्स अभी भी मेरे को मज़ा नहीं आ रहा. मैं चाहूँगा कि 100% try to get into this so that at least they get the knowledge and get back to. What will happen to you is you are getting certifications already. Nobody is getting in this country. What are you getting? Let me tell you, there is not a single institution. I don't want to name some because करूँगा तो बोलेंगे हर साहब ने इनके नाम ले लिए. छोड़ दो उनको. सबसे बड़ी बात है हम क्या कर रहे हैं वो बताएंगे. At NDIM, this is the only forum that is involved in this, and you may not know. All this goes to the government as policy constructs. Can you believe it? And you go and read your brochure जो प्रोड्यूस हुई है,
मैंने 6 पॉलिसी कंस्ट्रक्ट के बारे में लिखा है। वो लास्ट ब्रोशर जब वाइस प्रेसिडेंट आए थे यहाँ, उस समय रिलीज हुई थी। चाहिए तो टेक अ कॉपी एंड रीड दैट पेज ऑफ व्हाट रेपा NDIM सेंटर ऑफ एक्सलेंस का, क्योंकि व्हेन आई एम पार्ट ऑफ इट एंड दे आर पार्ट ऑफ मी, राइट, इवन व्हाट रेपा हैज डन, तो NDIM फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट फ्रेटर्निटी एंड आप लोग हैं, यू पार्ट ऑफ दिस, आप प्राउडली जा सकते हो, बोल सकते हैं हमने कंट्री की पॉलिसी कंस्ट्रक्ट में हमारी इंस्टीट्यूशन ने काम किया। सो जब तक आपका ये प्राइड नहीं होगा, देखो मेरा NIT का प्राइड इतना है कि आई नेवर फील लोअर अबाउट एन IITian सिटिंग विथ मी। आई समटाइम्स टेल यार हम आपसे ज़्यादा आगे हैं। तो ये जब तक आपको लव नहीं होगा ना कि आप NDIM से हो, और ये जो प्राइड है, आज क्या बोला इन्होंने साहब ने, इन्होंने कहा कि ये G20 पे जाएगा हमारी बात। सो इस जगवीर राव साहब कुछ अलग बोल रहे हैं, ये IIT में भी जाते हैं। राव साहब आपकी तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग IIT से भी है, दिल्ली से भी, सब जगह है। तो ये यहाँ क्यों बोल रहे हैं? बिकॉज ही सीन द वर्क दैट वी आर डूइंग ना, राइट? सो व्हाई डोंट यू गिव अ क्लैप टू योरसेल्फ? So every student that comes here is going to get, हमने तो एक advanced step लिया. Normally I don't give participation certificate, but this time I said whoever is here will give that also. हम तो आपको encourage करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि आप involve हो, क्योंकि आप क्या कर रहे हो, आप jobs के चक्कर में हो. करियर तो तब होगा जब सस्टेनेबिलिटी ऑफिसर बनेगा. फ्यूचर तो वही है. हेतल ने एक और बात कही, क्लाइमेट एक्शन. याद है, मैं क्लाइमेट एक्शन बोल रहा हूँ, क्लाइमेट चेंज बोला. आंसर क्या? एक्शन. सिंपल सी बात है. यू आर द फर्स्ट वन. मार्केट में जाओगे, आप बायोडाटा इंटरव्यू होगा, सर आई हैव डन वर्क ऑन द क्लाइमेट, दिस इज आवर फोरम, दिस इज व्हाट वी आर वर्किंग, दिस इज द एपेक्स एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया दैट इज विद अस, इट इज एट NDIM. और कहाँ है? रेपा है ही नहीं कहीं किसी के साथ. फिर भाई हिरन कस्तूरी ढूंढेगी, यही हाल होगा. थैंक यू
सर. लास्ट थिंग sir,
so we should have one
last point. Those students who have asked question, we are gifting them the book as a special
करिए.
So with your signature,
मैं कर दूंगा थोड़ी देर में.
Yeah, वो आपके सामने बुक रखा है, तो उसमें so उनके साथ एक फोटोग्राफी भी हो जाए.
I think all of them deserve, but
all of them have been given a soft copy. I know. But this is a special gesture for them.
अच्छा, इनके नाम लिखे हुए हैं इसमें? ये तो बढ़िया काम कर दिया आपने. So first name is Ayushi in front of me. आज का दिन भी लिख देते हैं. So Ayushi gets the first book. Who is this? Yeah, you want a picture? रोहित. संयम जैन. Yes. जसमीत. हाँ बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल. जो स्टूडेंट बच जाएंगे वो भी ग्रुप फोटो में आएंगे. Nitika Baba. Nitin. Yes. Okay, all of you, thanks. Can we have one left? अच्छा इसमें किसका नाम? Let me have your name. वो God only knows. मैं ज़्यादा पहले इकोनॉमी पे फोकस कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि उसको ठीक करो तो सारा कुछ ठीक हो जाता है ना. वो कर रहे हैं कुछ, but वो अलग डायरेक्शन में. I am trying to build a model manifesto for India. मतलब सभी पार्टीज को बताना है कि वर्क ऑन अ मॉडल मैनिफेस्टो, क्योंकि जब तक हम उसको नहीं करेंगे ना, सब अपनी अपनी मैनिफेस्टो लेके घूम रहे हैं, तो उसको नहीं करना है. मतलब वी हैव टू गेट देम इनटू अ कॉमन मैनिफेस्टो फॉर कंट्री. You right away. Some we can have photos, sir. पहले हम अपनी एक फोटो ले लेते हैं पहले, फिर then we'll call out the students. Students can be down. है ना? पहले एक ग्रुप फोटो बना लो. पहले एक ग्रुप फोटो बना लो. पहले हाँ राइट. ज़्यादा बेटर है ना? प्रशांत, you loved it? Yeah. हाँ राइट. Few more of these connects.
सर
दिखोगे नहीं, नहीं तो इधर आ गया, दिखोगे नहीं, दिख मत